Sport.
Collect the new 2025 AFL footy cards at Sportscard Mall.
More injury concerns for Port Adelaide. Asava Radicalea has been ruled out of Saturday's Dockers clash with hamstring tightness. Brandon Zirk-Thatcher is set to play his first game of the season. Meantime, Ken Hinkley says he's committed to seeing out the season in charge at Alberton despite 3 big losses. Essendon will play its 6th debutant of 2025 with defender Angus Clark to line up against Richmond on Friday night. In the NBA, the Thunder have beaten the Timberwolves 114-88 in Game 1 of the Western Conference final playoffs. And Ange Postecoglou denies he'll be remembered as a clown if Tottenham lose tomorrow's Europa League final against Manchester United. Now checking FIVEAA traffic.
Sharman Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the big white building, still at 412 North East Road.
Today they're recording a smash on the north side of motorway. It's near Torrens Road, quite heavy delays inbound. Glen got a burst water main, also pretty slow going through there. Paynham Road near Edward Street. And Oaklands Park, a broken down truck on Oaklands Road just near Brighton Road causing delays. Busy at the moment, Main North Road at Enfield with a camera, Southern Expressway to Leinster. Visit friends and family with return flights to Fiji from $599 and the USA from $1,199. Book now at FijiAirways.com. Conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
A possible shower this afternoon, mostly sunny tomorrow, 19. Friday, sunny and 19. Saturday, 21. Right now, it's 17 degrees. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News tonight.
On Beth XL tonight, exclusive. A trader's shocking injuries, forced to confront shoplifters on her own at a major shopping centre. Rent to buy, the new scheme for housing trust tenants. The power pricing tactics costing you hundreds. How robotic technologies revolutionising knee surgery. And the link between cold sores and dementia. 9 News, your news, nightly at 6 on 9 and 9 Now.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is FIVEAA, always Adelaide. The FIVEAA Sports Show. Rowey,
I am flabbergasted.
And Timmy G.
Absolute sports festival.
Good afternoon, 7 after 4 on this Wednesday as we take a midweek moment to cast our eye ahead to the second week of Sir Doug Nicholls' round, and it's team selection day. We know it's tomorrow, but boy, there's some headaches starting to arise for our local coaches. Rowey, Timmy G, good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Sam. Yes, welcome to Wednesday night. Lots of questions tonight. Just questions. To rest text or not to rest text. It's almost Shakespeare. How much to keep, Butters and Bergman? How much are you prepared to pay? Because those deals are going to be on the table now. And can Ange Postecoglou get silverware, as he always promises in his second year? 8223 0000. As I welcome our guest, Stephen Rowe. Well, he's not a guest, he's here, have you not?
Well, I am. I would rest Tick if his numbers are down. I would throw the kitchen sink at Bergman and Butters, and I think you'll keep both of them.
You've only got one kitchen sink. What else are you going to throw? The bathroom and the kitchen?
True. I think you'll keep both.
Yeah.
I hope you do.
Whiz.
Oh, they're big
asking up.
Yeah. What does Campo call players like Butters? A unicorn.
Yeah.
Like they're just that rare.
Yeah.
Butters is rare.
It's true, because you might say, you get 3 first rounders, but how do you know that's going to equal a Butters?
No.
Good call.
What's the saying? A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. What was the other one, Ange? I'm getting up at 4:30. I think that will be exciting.
I think it's worth it.
I love these sort of games. I don't care if Tottenham win or lose or Man United win or lose. It's not about that. It's about Ange. This is about an Australian. This is about a bloke that's been belted from pillar to post this year. I love this bloke.
Yeah.
I'm getting up for Ange. Everyone, get up for Ange.
And I know people think that perhaps the Australian media can be a bit harsh, and, football commentators can be a bit harsh and the like. There's nothing on the British press.
Did someone call him a clown?
Well, we're going to get to that. Yeah, they wrote it in an article, and he happened to be in the media conference, and Ange gets hold of him. So.
Now, you're a solutions man. You like answers. Nothing in there about Port and Kosh. Are we going to get onto that?
Oh, yeah.
Koshy spoke. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Because that's the meaty bit.
Well, he was on Brekkie this morning,
it.
Which is great, and he was talking to David and Will, which is great, but he was asked about the plan, and he's going to be sticking to the plan.
No, we've always had the plan, and as you know, plans before in years gone by, we stick to our plan, and we think the decision is still sound.
So the decision is still sound.
So he wants, as we spoke about last night and the night before, would you hold or would you go?
What are you doing? You're a solution. Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, I reckon they've got to probably move on it soon.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's best for all parties, in my opinion. I think it's best for the club. That's number one. It's got to be best for the club, right? Yeah. I think
you always put club first.
Yeah, it'd be good for Ken and Josh, I think.
Yep.
And I think player-wise, I think they need a sting. We had that text. I think it was, and apologies, Kim. I think it was Kim that came in and said, hey, I reckon players, they always think they're giving 100%, but they're not. No. And there's a way of getting that out of them. And I think just changing the voice and knowing, he is the man that's in charge now, I think that might be the stinger.
The circuit breaker.
Might be the stinger.
So how would they do it? So they've got Fremantle this week. Then they've got to buy.
Then they've got GWS.
The club's going to want to say, thank you, Ken, a send-off game. He probably wouldn't want one. And there's no way he's going to leave on his own accord. They're going to have to make
But if you listen to David Koch, he is saying they will see that through to the end of the year.
Well, they are. That's how I read it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I read into that...
how he said it.
Well, there's no reading into it. That's what he said. But I don't know whether it's pig-headedness or not enough courage. You can call it what you like. But I don't reckon that board being your board, led by David, is going to move on that. He wants to see it through because he doesn't want to admit fault or he made the wrong decision. The succession plan was all wrong. That's an admission of fault.
Yeah, it could be.
Isn't it?
It could be.
There's a bit of that, I think.
Yeah, but you could manage that. You could manage that.
Well, what's more important for the club?
You could manage that around the PR.
Your ego or your board making it wrong or getting it wrong?
Yeah, you can always manage that.
Yeah,
I think so.
I agree.
Koshy was also talking about just comparing Port Adelaide's situation to Brisbane because Brisbane this time last year, I think, were 4 wins, a draw, 5 losses.
They were 3 wins, 5 losses and a draw.
Yeah, I added 1 because it's 10 rounds. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but, 4 then.
But
they were 3.
Pretty similar. 4 and 6. The only thing I would say is our losses, the 3, were very large compared to Brisbane not having a 10-goal plus loss. But can they pull it off? Here's Koshy. He believes it.
Footy's a funny game. You've got to hold the line. You've got to hold the belief, but always, and we always do, have an eye for the future. Everyone at this stage last year was saying the same thing about Chris Fagan, and look where they ended up.
Love that optimism, and I can understand trying to make that comparison to where Brizzy were last year and the like, but
fans do that.
Keep believing. Yeah, that was the message. That was the message. Yeah, just some good news if you like. Horn Francis has
hang on, before you move on, I want to discuss that. That would be a football miracle if you can get into the 8, let alone into the top 4, let alone to win a final, then win a grand final. I would tell him he's dreaming. You can be as optimistic as you like. Get out the chat. You are dreaming.
Yeah, right.
That would be a football miracle.
Okay.
Do you think it would be a football miracle?
Yes.
From here, for you to make...
This situation...
Yeah, it'd be a football miracle.
Yeah, it'd be one you'd write about in the annals of history.
It would be. Because Brisbane's last year was a miracle.
It was an incredible win.
Their season...
It ended up from 5th.
And the finals they won...
Yeah.
And the games they were behind to win in the last quarter, you're going to have to start winning last quarters.
Well, that's a start.
Okay.
That's a start. But
so you're with Koshy. You're in behind him. You believe it. They could.
I think dare to dream. It's great to be optimistic.
Okay.
It's great to be optimistic.
Okay.
It's always better than...
So that's with Ken or with Josh?
Well, that's right. If he wins, he keeps winning, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He keeps staying. So,
okay.
That solves itself, that one. Just quickly on Horn Francis, he was seen running laps today. So only 4 days after doing a hammy. So what I'd like to know is what came out of the scan. Was it a tear at all? Was it 1 inch? Was it, how big a tear was it?
Was it in the belly? Was it in the tendon? Was it up or bottom?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea whether quick recovery. But I'll tell you, don't be silly with those things because you don't want to repeat it because you can do it worse.
Hasn't he had operations on those tendons on both hemis?
It was
before he came to the club?
Down below towards his knee though. Yeah. So Radaglia also not looking great. He's
been ruled
out. He's out.
He's been ruled out by the club.
Out.
Yeah. So this is just breaking. The club's put out a statement to say that he won't play.
The press.
It is hot off the press. He's got hamstring tightness.
No.
Only ran laps today, so he's out as well. That would be 4 forced changes for tomorrow's selection.
Who in God's name is your fitness boss? 4 hammies in a week.
It's not great, is it? Yeah, not a good record.
Timmy, you are no chance.
It's funny you
versus
said
Fremantle
that. I got a unique home style food text, Nathan at Salisbury North, and he said, "Take your boots and your mouth guard to training tomorrow, mate." And I said, "And your good hamstrings." Because everybody seems to be doing one at the moment. Here's Tom Morris, Channel 9 Footy Classified. I said about Bergman and Butters in the opening, and this is what he believes Port Adelaide have presented.
So what I can tell you tonight is Port Adelaide have offered Miles Bergman a 7-year deal, which will take him through to the end of 2032. It's one of a number of deals they've offered, a 2-year deal, a mid-term deal and a long-term deal. They're clearly trying to stop clubs like St Kilda and other teams taking them off their hands. He's 23 years old, highly regarded, and it goes in line with what they've offered Zach Butters as well, which is an 8-year deal from the end of next year, because he's out of contract next year, until the end of 2034. So Port pulling out all stops to keep Bergman and Butters.
So they
can't blame them for that.
Yeah, and that's why you won't get Miller, because it's massive money. They haven't even offered Miller. This is Wanganeen Miller anything yet, because they need to see where these two land. And I would suggest if one of these two were to fall over, that's when Miller comes into play.
Then the offer comes in.
That's my read.
And that's fair enough.
That's what I'm led to believe.
You've got to play your cards.
You have to.
Don't you? And just
100.
know when to hold them and know when to fold them, my friend.
Know when to walk away and know when to run.
Exactly.
You never count your money, Timmy, when you're leaning on the table.
Correct.
There'll be time enough to run when the dealing's done.
Now, I can't believe this. Thank you, Kenny Rowe. Rain predicted on the weekend.
Yeah.
Rain and you know, God bless us, we need the rain for the farmers. We do need that.
And the algae bloom.
And that as well. But it is predicted. Is there the opportunity to rest Tex against the West Coast Eagles, being that it may be difficult conditions and the like? Here is Tex himself on the M's.
It'll happen over the next probably couple of weeks. We've spoken about it, and I'll just do what's best for the team. If it's this week, if it's next week, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, which will be probably Thursday or Friday.
Would you be resting him or playing him?
I don't have all the facts, and I'd want to see the PPT. I think he's a bloke that if he's right and he's fresh and he's able to play and his numbers are good and he's got nothing to carry, he plays. Now, if he's a little bit jaded and a little bit flat, the sighter for me was that he was subbed on the weekend. It's going to be wet. It's going to be windy. It's going to be terrible conditions for a inverted commas forward. I'd be resting him.
Yeah.
With all of that as facts, I reckon I'd be resting him. And look, it's a good opportunity for Thilthorpe and Fogg to work together. You got Curtin that can still do that third tall if they love the third tall. Pedler's busting to get in, and he's an in and under, hard-nosed player. If it's going to be that sort of game, Tex, how grey is his hair getting?
Oh, that's okay,
I don't know why I just moved it. I saw a photo of him the other day.
Yeah, he's moving.
Texan.
Moving in my territory.
You need some, what's that stuff you put in your hair that people think I do?
Just for men.
Yeah, well, just for men. Grecian 40.
Grecian 2000 or
He
something.
plays for St Kilda. That's him.
Now, just hearing
Resty.
amateur psychologist,
Yep.
What do you reckon he's thinking?
Oh, I think he'd want to play. I don't think he likes resting. He's old school, and you know how old school he is. Don't flirt with your form. Neil Craig used to always say that.
I heard him talking there, and it was like, we've had discussions and the like, and I think he's not playing.
He is. Neil Craig used to say that. Don't flirt with your form, and I used to go up to him. I've got no form. So there's nothing to flirt with.
Love it. We did mention about our great friend Ange Postecoglou, friend of show. We'd love to get him on one day. That'd be terrific.
We will.
We are going to have Boz on tonight to talk about it, but he's got a chance. He's right on the eve of the Europa League final, 4:30 a.m. our time tomorrow morning, and I'm with you. It's worth getting up and have a crack at this. 9Gem, I believe.
It is on 9Gem, free to wear.
If you haven't got a Optus account.
Or Stan Sport account.
Stan, is it?
Yes.
Stan, if you haven't got that, please get on 9Gem. But there was an article written, and the journalist was in the audience, and they said, well, in the article it said if he wins, he's a hero. If he loses, he's a clown. Have a listen to Ange's response.
Irrespective of tomorrow, I'm not a clown. I never will be, mate. I'm really disappointed that you use such terminology about a person who, for 26 years, without any favours from anyone, has worked his way to be in a position where he's leading out a club in a European major competition.
Good on you, Ange.
Great answer.
Oh,
great
good
answer.
on you, Ange.
Yeah. No, you just got to show some respect there.
That is poor journalism.
Well, it's just nasty.
Well, and I'm not going to throw stones. I've been nasty.
Yeah.
But, yeah, good on you. And when you're that sort of person, you've got to expect it's going to come back. and comes back with interest as Ange did. God, Ange, please come up, Tottenham.
I do hope he wins for
What's
his
their
sake.
thing? Tottenham. What do they sing? What are they?
I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know.
Is it Blowing Bubbles or something like that? I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think that might be it.
I'll
yeah.
be playing that at 4:30
Give us a call,
morning.
8223 How would your forward line look, Crows, if Tex is out of it? What
Like
are
that
you
one.
throwing in there? And Port Adelaide, can they do a Brisbane? Can they turn this around from this moment onwards to win the flag?
Do you believe in football miracles, Port
Do
people?
you believe in love?
8223 0000. Jimmy Bartell to join us tonight. We have Where Are They Now? And we'll talk about Ange's big quest ahead tonight with Mark Bosnich from Stan Sport. It is 20 after 4. Your call's next. 8223 0000.
Rowey and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
Calling all car fans. Need your weekly motoring fix? Join me, Charlie Dixon, Wednesday nights from 6:30 for Driving with Dixon. We talk about all things motoring, cars, car events, racing, anything motoring.
Enjoy your outdoor area all year round with an opening and closing roof designed, manufactured and installed locally by FIVEAA House.
So join me Wednesday nights for Driving with Dixon. Only on $13.95, Adelaide's 5AA.
You're smart, you're busy, and your time matters. So when that first sign of illness appears, you need answers, not appointments. That's when you reach for Cell Life, the premium 4-in-1 rapid antigen test that puts you in control. Fast, reliable results for COVID-19, flu A, flu B, and RSV in just minutes. Make the smart choice for your health and family. Insist on the brand that healthcare professionals prefer. Cell Life at leading chemists and Amazon. Cell Life, CELLIFE.
Built like a brick house. Tough as nails. That's Basic Trailers for you. This EOFIS, use code 5AA to drive away with Rego for just $1. Made with 100% Australian steel in Adelaide. Basic Trailers. Basically better.
Now here's something I'm sure will benefit many listeners. For the relief of pain and other symptoms associated with mild arthritis and inflammation, try Arbor Vitae, like Rob.
Until I started taking Arbor Vitae, I had pain from mild to severe arthritis in all my joints from my active days when younger, playing rugby league and then working for over 50 years as a builder. It wasn't until July 2023 when I read an article about Arbor Vitae that I decided to give it a punt, having tried everything else with no luck. Within 1 week of starting Arbor Vitae, I started to notice a difference. I could feel relief from pain, and to my amazement, within 2 weeks all my pain had gone, and I was pain-free for the first time in probably 50 years.
Just like Rob, Arbor Vitae could have a positive effect on your life too. Arbor Vitae is available now at all major chemists and health food stores. Arbor Vitae, it's wellness backed by science. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
For over 50 years, 50 great years, Adriatic Slumber has gone quietly about their business, making some of the best handmade mattresses in South Australia. Yes, handmade. No
Correct.
machines, no robots, no IAs, IQs, no anything. Yeah,
Witnessed it, loved it.
Without any fuss, they do it. Just honest craftsmanship. I love old-fashioned craftsmanship.
Yeah, spot on.
Bouncy.
Boom. No worries at all.
Boom.
Brilliant.
Bang.
Now, to celebrate, they've got a big thank you to all South Australians. Adriatic Slumber have released a limited anniversary edition mattress. Now, it's complete with the reversible pillow top. How comfy are they? Matching ensemble headboard. It's been such a hit that they've decided to keep it around just a little bit longer. And yes, it still comes with a bonus mattress protector and pillows.
That's it. Every mattress is made to order. Right here in SA, it's a family-owned team. Find Adriatic Slumber at trusted independent stockists. It's in the CBD, regional SA, NT, Broken Hill. No gimmicks, just genuine quality. Genuine from people who have been doing it properly, not just guessing, since 1974.
Handmade in South Australia for South Australians. Visit adriaticslumber.com.au.
Plant the seed of your legacy. Centennial Park's new Living Legacy Forever Flowers offers a heartfelt and sustainable way to commemorate your loved one. For the first time in South Australia, Living Legacy's groundbreaking science allows your loved one's ashes to positively impact the environment, creating a beautiful, lasting tribute where friends and family can gather and reflect whilst contributing to the beautiful botanical environment. To learn more about Living Legacy Forever Flowers, visit centennialpark.org.
Toolkit Depot has all the gear for every trade under one roof, backed by their price beat promise.
Rowey and Timmy G, the 5AA Sports Show.
24 minutes after 4, get to your calls in just a moment, 8223 0000. And our resident Tottenham fan, Blake Flanagan, who works with Leaf Forest, has sent in all the information we need around the song for Tottenham. It's the Saints tune. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in. No way. There you go. And he says blowing bubbles is West Ham. We had a few people on the text saying that.
Well, no wonder they haven't won anything if they've got some sort of tenuous link to the Saints.
Or I'm loving Big Ange instead, which is
I
of
like
course
that one.
Robbie Williams takeoff. We'll get to your call straight after we check your roads. All thanks to Rossdale Homes, SA's most trusted custom design, fixed pricing and total peace of mind, because trust is a must.
At Croydon, a smash in the north-south motorway near Torrens Road, seeing delays inbound. Glen, Burstwater Main, Paynham Road near Edward Street. Somerson Park, a truck broken down Oaklands Road near Brighton Road, and Valley View Urgent Sewer Works, Nelson Road near Wright Road. Cameras this afternoon, Adelaide Road, Gawler South and Barramundi Drive at Howard Cove. This end of financial year, make it a Mercedes-Benz. With exceptional offers across the range, terms and conditions apply. Excludes all electric and hybrid models. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
All righty. Let's go to our callers. Fulham Gardens. G'day, Daryl.
Daryl.
Good afternoon, gents. Look, yesterday afternoon there was a young lad, I think, rang up and mentioned about the sort of youthfulness of our of the Port Adelaide team. And I just wanted to point out a couple of facts as far as that's concerned. We've got 6 players on less than 20 games, and 2 of those have got less than 10. We've got 2 players in between the 20 and 50 mark, and 6 players under 100, another 6 between 50 and 100. So it's a fairly youthful side that we put forward against Geelong, and it's been the case for a fair bit of the year. In the Magpies, we've got 8 guys who are still teenagers. So where are we going to sort of get some of these more experienced players? We've had to change the game plan, obviously, with the loss of players like Dixon and Houston, who could pump the ball in forward. We've got no strong marking forward, partly because 2 of those are injured. So there's a lot to sort of say the cattle are a little bit low as far as what we can put on the field. And there's a guy that forever rings up in Lambeth, Port Adelaide, a guy called Dave from North Haven. He says, it's a boys' club. Well, I don't think he watches any of the Magpies games to see how some of those guys are going, because there's a couple of old, experienced ones there who really wouldn't deserve a game anyway. So I'm just a bit concerned that, we give some of these comments a bit short shrift and don't put forward too many other potential reasons why things go wrong in a game and we lose by so much or whatever. But I think it's just worth pointing those facts out.
Thanks, Daryl. Yeah, I think regardless of your experience, I think the effort and the drop-off has been the real concern in those 3 games. That's probably been the main, what would you say, bugbear of supporters, just saying you can't just roll over and just get whacked like that.
3 of 10, 90, 91 and 76 points.
And some of that might be not knowing what they're supposed to be doing on the line. Yeah. So, there's confusion. The confusion there, I think, is there. But look, I always sort of go to, I think, was it Lohman? How old was he in the grand final last year? About 19. Ashcroft, about 19.
Won the medal. The age means nothing. The age game doesn't know your name or your age.
That's what they say, and so it's for me. It's probably more about that depth, Daryl, in there now. Whether they're played 50 games or 2 games or the rest of it, how good are they?
But you've been resetting, and the term came from Port. We're building that jigsaw for 3 or 4 years. You played in the prelim last year.
Yeah, and played in finals 4 out of 5.
There you go. So you're in the window, and now all of a sudden you're 15th.
And I know Koshy this morning spoke about some injuries and the like too, but I look at the Western Bulldogs and they would have loved to have Sam Darcy, Waitman, and Ugle Hagen in their forward line, but they don't.
No.
So you've got to be able to fill those gaps. Now, if our list isn't strong enough or got enough depth, then we have to work on that.
That's it. Hello, Steve.
Rowey, how you going, buddy?
Steve.
Just got a couple of questions, Ray. What's your opinion on the mental health in the AFL?
I have no idea.
Are you very vocal about it? As in, I know that there's a lot of talk about the Selwood fellas that passed away.
Yeah, I would not know because I'm not in the inner sanctum or in football land. I can only see what I hear.
You're talking
and hear
current
what I
players,
see.
Steve, or past players, or both?
No, neither, mate.
Neither? Okay.
Neither.
Who are we talking about then?
No, sorry. Are you talking about players?
Yeah, I said current players or past players?
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. The attention has been brought to the Selwood boys, which is a tragedy for anybody that suffers from depression, no doubt. And the AFL is putting a lot of attention out there for people to understand it. But there's 9 people a day in Australia that commit suicide from mental illness. And good on the AFL for doing what they do. But, you know, I don't know what a lot of these people... do you guys have an opinion on why do you think all of a sudden it's come to a head? It's not so much with the guys passing away. It's just general people will have time off because of mental health issues. Well, this has never been really a focus of the AFL over the years. Why do you think it's come to a head at the moment?
Steve, all I'll answer it is like this. We don't know because we're not in the inner sanctum. I've had a kid that's just come out of there. Anxiety is a massive thing, but it's a society thing. And AFL clubs are a micronism, is that the word, of society.
Yeah.
They reflect society. Now, mental health, I've got 30 workers. There's not a week goes by where one of them hasn't rung up about going off for mental health. Now, I don't know whether that mental health back in the old days, it was different and defined differently, but nowadays anything's linked to mental health.
I think the other thing, Steve, is
here we have a mental health day.
There's far greater awareness, and people are prepared to
be openly express it, and that's got to be a good thing.
It has to be because
got to be a good thing.
So many couldn't in the past, and then unfortunately would either harm or take their own life. So
there is not one family who hasn't got a family member who has some sort of mental illness. Let's call it that. In some vein, I'm not excluded from it. My family has, and I'm very sentimental
and the sooner
to it.
you identify it, and the sooner you do
get onto it, that's it.
Get onto it. It's like
and there's great help.
It's like prevention is better than cure.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. I hope we answered. I didn't quite know where you're coming from, but I hope we answered it.
Yeah, we'll keep taking your calls in the next half hour. It's time for the 4:30 headlines.
The 5AA Sports Show with Rowey and Timmy G. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Good afternoon. Mel Usher with the 5AA News headlines. A pre-budget announcement from the Malinauskas government today regarding a new path to home ownership. Former Prime Minister Tony Abbott is adding his voice to those calling for the Liberals and Nationals to reunite. Several people have been injured in a mass stabbing incident in the Netherlands. And in sport, Port Sasaba Ratugolea has been ruled out of this weekend's clash against Freo after some minor tightness in his hamstring. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Sharman Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the Big White Building, still at 412 North East Road.
Afternoon at Glenda, Burst Water Main, Paynham Road near Edward Street, got speeds at 40 and lane closed through there, pretty slow for the drive home. Valley View, Burst Water Main, Nelson Road at Wright Road, speed and lane restrictions there too, and also something else at Valley View, urgent sewer works, Nelson Road near Wright Road. Busy right now, South Road, Karata Park with the camera, Old South Road, Old Ranella. Try Pizza Hut's new Karate Kid Legends range for a chance to win a trip to New York and more. 2 flavours, 1 legendary range. Order at pizzahut.com.au and see the movie only in cinemas. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, a possible shower tonight down to 5, sunny tomorrow 19. Right now it's 17 degrees. We'll have more news at 5 on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Westpac is expected to cut more than 1,500 jobs in a bid to meet cost reduction targets.
David Penberthy.
How much money did Westpac make in the last 12 months, eh? Didn't they make some record profit?
They're not struggling. Let's have a look.
Will Goodings.
Half-year earnings, $3.3 billion.
Billion?
Adelaide's leading breakfast show.
That's a net profit first half, so they're probably going to make nearly $7 billion this year.
5AA Breakfast.
But, you know, cutbacks. Yeah, that's actually extraordinary.
Weekdays from 6 a.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Fusion Clinical Research are looking for people to participate in a study aimed at uncovering and reducing mental decline. The trial results will be used to drive the development of new treatments. People aged between the ages of 55 and 80 are invited to take part and will receive compensation for their time. If you're interested, find out more and check your eligibility by contacting Fusion at fusiontrials.com.au or by calling 087077 6996.
All right, so that'll be absolutely diddly squat. Zero. Zilch. Nada.
Buy any new, used or demo vehicle from Southern Cherry before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland on us. Groceries covered, car sorted, more money for what matters. Visit southerncherrymorfettvale.com.au to find out more. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Another great deal driven by Australian Motors.
Tong Masters, how do they get invented? Well, they don't do it just by flipping snags. They earn the title of Backyard Hospitality Director. And you know why? Because they've got an Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens kitchen.
They don't hand that title out to anybody.
No.
They don't. So you've got to do this. Choose from the best appliances at a bar fridge. What about a pizza oven? Or stun your guests with one of those custom-made concrete bench tops. There's indoor ones. These handmade bench tops can really update any kitchen space. They're custom-made. It's yours uniquely. No one else has one. You can say, boom.
There
one
it
off.
is. Mine. Going to do it. If you want to go and have a look and see how it's all done, or get up to Seaford Meadows, Farrow Circuit, that's where they got the factory and where they make it all, and you can see it all happening. It's great. And they'll look after you, don't worry. And the best backyard hospitality directors, well, they choose Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens. And if you just want to check them out online, go to adelaideoutdoorkitchens.com.au.
It's a fact. There are thousands of medium-sized homes all over Adelaide that have old-style, inefficient heating and cooling. So upgrade now with Mannix. Get a super efficient, top quality ducted reverse cycle air conditioning system now and be comfortable all year round from an incredible $7,990 fully installed with our 10-year installation guarantee. Conditions apply. But don't delay, prices are rising. Buy now and save. From the SA name you know and trust.
There should be no limits to a child's potential, but every day the invisible barriers of poverty take a toll on Ella's learning. Please donate now to give children like Ella the extra learning support to achieve their potential. Search the Smith family.
Toolkit Depot has all the gear for every trade under one roof, backed by their price beat promise.
Rowey and Timmy G, the 5AA Sports Show.
We don't get any option in the narrative internally. We just get to go out and try and do our best to turn that narrative around and make it more consistent with what we believe in. And that's why I say clarity for us internally is what we need to have. And we've got that. We've just got to now back that up with performance more consistently than we have done this year. At 4 and 6, we're not a disaster, but our 3 losses makes everyone jump on, we are a disaster. I don't think that's completely accurate at all. I think that's the challenge of AFL football.
Ken Hinkley at 23 to 5. Jimmy Bartell will join us after 5 and we'll keep taking your calls. And if you're around the Port Adelaide area, this Friday we're going to be coming to you live from the freshly reopened Port and Vine Hotel in Port Adelaide. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And the first 50 beers will be free. They'll be on us. So be there from 4. Join us for the show live Friday.
That's Friday.
That's Friday.
This
Another
Friday.
road trip.
Yeah.
Love a good road
Looking
trip.
forward to that. It's on I'm wearing black shorts. Home game.
And
It's
I'm
home
white.
game.
I'm white. I'm away.
White shorts for you, buddy.
Oh, no.
Yeah. All right. You never know
Anyway,
your luck.
let's do this. Our resident sport physician over many a year is Dr. Peter Larkins. Doc, welcome.
Welcome, Rowey. 50 beers for free. So you get the first 20, Rowey. That leaves 30 for the listeners. Is that right?
Well, I've been really watching my beer. Actually, I've read your book, The Healthy 100 Ways to a Healthier, Happier and Longer You. And one of them would be just look after your bloody beer intake, wouldn't it?
Do you say no alcohol, Pete, or what do you say?
Well, no. It says everything in moderation, including moderation, Tim. So I'm not, I'm not on the soapbox too much, but I want people to live healthy, and so I try to make it achievable. Because you get people up there and say, "Oh, you can't eat this and you can't eat that. You've got to do that." People say, "Oh, that's too hard. I'm not going to follow that." So My Healthy 100 book's about, practical things. So alcohol is on the list, but alcohol in moderation,
yes,
boys. And usually the red wine, McLaren Vale particularly, because it's the Shiraz and the Pinots that have got the beautiful health-giving grapes.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Well, just
On the right
quickly,
track then.
and I know you're interested in my health, Doc, as I'm in my 60th year. I'm off the beer. I don't have sugar and I don't have bread, but boy, do I drink a lot of Aperol.
Bit of sugar
So
in
is that
that,
a
I'd
good
say.
trade-off?
Well, so your hydration, we've got a tick next to that, Rowey.
Done.
So we know you're hydrating, but yeah, look, I've got to say, look, if you come over to the beautiful Melbourne this summer, we'll do an Aperol Spritz and you'll see me having one. So
Good man.
I'm not going to say you can't have them. And the beers, look, obviously calories there, but, look, having a little bit of alcohol is fine, but you can sort of cut it out during the week and just save it for the weekends at the footy. That's probably a healthier way to go too.
Yeah.
Oh, even Slim Dusty said that.
They did. Hey, let's get serious. We just had a caller just now, just out of the blue, talking about
Mental health.
Are the numbers higher? Is it creeping in? We'll get to Jeremy McGovern. That's something different. That's a head knock. Mental health, is that a big pressing issue in our game?
Well, in a game it is. I mean, certainly society it is, because I think we've never had so much publicity about anxiety, depression, stress. We've had some terrible news in the AFL world over the last few days, as you guys know, and it's not the first from the West Coast club, not the first from even that family. So when we look at footy generally, I think the biggest challenge is head injury, concussion management, but then that can be associated with long-term emotional or mental health issues. And then separate to the concussion issue, there are many clubs that have got players in a mental health welfare program, and a few players not playing at the moment. One particular number one draft pick that you'll be familiar with is going through struggles. And so I think it's one of those things where all clubs now have counselling, have psychologists, have welfare officers. They've always sort of been around, but their role is so much more important now, and the AFL Players Association are heavily into that. So it's a combination, guys, I think, of the world that we're in anyway. There seems to be a higher diagnosis and a higher incidence of mental health in the 20 to 30 age group, let alone the under-20s, plus the pressure of being a high-profile athlete and the social media stress that comes with that sometimes.
How much has social media, you reckon, borne about causing, I suppose, a lot more mental health issues, and the fact that, especially at high-level sport, that they're susceptible to attacks?
It's a great question, Tim, because it's talked about, I'm certainly not a psychiatrist or a mental health expert, but in the medical world generally, it's spoken about, I've got teenage boys at school, and it's spoken about at the schools, about bullying and, certainly some gender discrimination sort of comments that are made, from boys towards girls. And this is all the social media stress that kids are growing up with. Now, when you look at the sporting world, people are critiqued, not just by us in the media and you guys at the end of the game and the coaches. And it's not just the 1,000 or so media people that are critiquing. It's every punter gets out there and makes a comment, even about their own team players, let alone opposition. And so there's no question the focus and the microscope's a lot higher on players. Now, the question is, do you read it? I love it when the coaches say, we don't read the papers, but we know that they probably do. The players say they don't read the papers, but of course they do.
They can quote
a positive comment. So I think, the microscope in terms of having yourself critiqued on the job that you do on the footy field has never been higher. And, depending on your own personality and how thick-skinned you are, it can easily play on your mind, particularly if you've had a run of bad games, in a row. And it happens with coaches. I mean, Kenny Hinkley, for example, he's been, under pressure, and Kenny does a great job talking about that. There's a few other coaches, so not just players, but everyone gets scrutinised. And, as brave as you want to be in front of the microphone or the camera, when you get home at night and the lights go out and you start thinking about it, I think players can certainly, struggle a little bit with their own reflection on where they are in their careers.
Of course, the other big one in AFL is concussion, and we know that there's sort of class actions happening about past players, but when you got the guys in, and we know that a lot of the sanctioning in the AFL is probably around trying to protect the head, Jeremy McGovern quite surprised me. I didn't realise he'd had some concussion issues, but at 197 games, you're sort of thinking, this guy was almost... what would you say? It was indestructible. He's quite incredible the way he plays and the like, but now he's having some serious issues.
Yeah, well, Jeremy McGovern currently under the concussion protocol, so in his third week of not playing after the most recent concussion, but being the most recent, it's not the first he's had. He's had several documented, and there's always the minor ones that perhaps don't get documented, particularly before concussion was so well publicised or recorded. And then you go back, everyone at AFL's played junior footy, right? So there's players that are carrying concussions back from when they were 14, 15 or 16. So we've now got this era of accumulation of concussions where the more you have, if that makes sense. So as you have more, that you tend to get more the threshold goes down, where sometimes it's only a teammate bumping you or a tackle where you don't even have to get a big hit. So Jeremy McGovern's in that current assessment group where he's had multiple protocols, and clearly the club must have some concerns about them. So they're bringing in, just so the listeners are up to date, they're bringing in an independent panel that the AFL has, neurologists, neurophysiologists, to look at his concussion history, to look at his current health, to look at the best available testing, which is a combination of neuropsychological memory testing and reflex testing, plus the newest scans that are available. And then they have a really honest discussion with a player like Jeremy McGovern saying, do you want to risk playing in the future because we can see this and this? And this is what happened with Angus Brayshaw, just to hark back. See, Brayshaw had lots of concussions, but he was actually prevailed upon by this independent committee, not his own club committee at Melbourne, to stop playing because they felt his health signs and the new scans were showing damage that hadn't shown up before. So I think McGovern is now in that sort of situation where there'll be a really honest conversation. Hopefully the scans will show that he hasn't got some of the permanent changes. I don't know that, but certainly when you've had a player at 197 games and multiple concussions, I think clubs are now sensitive to future litigation that you referred to. The doctors at the clubs aren't brain specialists, so we've got access to these specialist committees. And that's just a sign that all resources are being utilised to help a player.
Yeah. Doc, I think once you get to the independent committee, I don't reckon too many of them survive that. Though he'll be retired. I want to know if is it more prevalent now, or is it just the awareness? Because back in our day, and Timmy could name him, I could name him, my team, we all had players, and you were our doctor back in the day. We all had players whose nickname were Candles. One blow and they were out. So it's not. This isn't a new phenomenon, is it?
No, not at all. But, of course, what we now know is have more respect for the process of recovering from it. You're not expected to toughen up and run back on in the second half when you don't even know which direction you're kicking or who your opponent is, because you're right, that was expected. And, in fact, Graham Corns and I had a great podcast with FIVEAA just a few weeks ago where we were talking about the changes that I've seen in sport, and that's one of them is the respect for the brain. So is there more of it? Probably not, because, as you say, there are always those cases around. But what we now have is more diagnosis of it. We have more rules around it, certainly more publicity around it, because I think the game is getting safer, but the game itself is always a brutal game. It's one of the most spectacular, brutal games in the world of sport. You guys watch a lot of sport, so I don't know we got more concussion, but it seems to be that, we hear about it a lot more, and we're always talking about how to treat concussion, how long the player's going to miss. What we haven't nailed, boys, is preventing concussion.
Yeah, right.
Now, how do we change our sport, which is a collision contact sport? It's just one of the big challenges in sport at the moment. And because we don't know how many concussions are too many, we've had retired players, and once this committee gets involved, it's got a fair bit of power. It can actually tell a player they're not allowed to play. But that's only done if the evidence suggests that the future health of the player is already at risk.
I was watching the Port Geelong game on the weekend, 3 hamstrings before half-time. It was like ping, ping, ping. Yeah, it was unreal.
Yes, I said, 4 hamstrings in the game, with Danger and Bowes, and obviously you had Horn Francis and then Jones, and I'm thinking, geez, 4. Yeah, 4 in a game. And I know the weather's much better in Melbourne than in Adelaide, boys, but I still, no, that was tongue-in-cheek. But, look, it was a little bit cold, a little bit slippery, but yeah, look, it was just then talk about social media, Tim, the whole X or Twitter world went wild when I made a comment about it saying, it's the surfer stock, it's, it's this or that, it's the wrong program at Port. And I go, well, Geelong hasn't got the wrong program.
Yeah.
They're all slightly different. They're all different age players, all with different histories. And I made a comment that I think they'd all take a different time frame to come back. So the younger players come back a little bit quicker, the older players take longer. But then the news comes out, which you guys called me about, with JHF, Jason,
yeah,
saying that he's mainly missed 1 week, which I think that's very optimistic, but perhaps he knows something I don't know.
They have a bye as well, so that might help too.
Nah, well done, Doc. As always, we love your work.
Thanks, Roy. Look forward to seeing you on my next trip over and
well done.
Catching up with your beautiful winery mates.
Yes,
please.
Yes, Ros Des Moines. Sports physician, he's friend of Dr. Peter Larkin's got that book out. It's been out for a while. It is a ripper. The Healthy 100 Ways to a Healthier, Happier and Longer Life. You can get it online or all good bookstores. Doc Larkin's our guest.
Absolute pro. It's 11 to 5. Let's check your traffic.
At Glow Derby Park, a car on fire there following a crash. Port Wakefield Road near Martins Road. Glenburst, Watermain, Paynham Road near Edward Street. Speeds at 40. The lane closed. And Valley View, urgent sewer works this afternoon. Nelson Road near Wright Road. Quite busy at the moment. Port Rush Road at the intersection of the freeway. And we are slow Anzac Highway at Ashford. Camera 2, First Street, Gawler South. Get what you really want with Ford's drive away deals like the Ranger Wild Track Model Year 25.25 from 70k drive away. Recommended price at participating dealers. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowey and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
Get saving now with City Discount Tyres. We're offering great deals on the world's top brands in tyres, wheels, suspension and parts. Suitable for four-wheel drives, SUVs and passenger cars, including Falcon, Michelin, Pirelli, Kumho, Hankook and many more. Finance options available. Search citydiscounttyres.com.au and locate your nearest dealer today. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
Hi, Brett Ibbott here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. It's always a good idea to buy a Mazda, and now it's even better when you unlock end of financial year deals early. All makes, models and colours plus low-K demos are being cleared with immediate delivery. You'll also get free on-roads, free stamp duty, free 12 months retro and $500 worth of accessories. No gimmicks, just great deals. Get your end of financial year Mazda early at Mawson Lakes Mazda, Salisbury Highway. T's and C's apply.
G'day, it's Ben from BJ Energy. Lately I've had a lot of people asking about the federal battery rebate, what it is, how it works and whether they're eligible. At BJ Energy, we've done the homework. Our job is to help you make the most of the rebate while it's still around. So if you're thinking about solar or a home battery or just have any questions about the federal battery rebate, it's easy to get in touch with us. No sales pitch, just straight answers. Visit bjenergy.com.au. That's bjenergy.com.au.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles' famous once-a-year May Mayhem is the biggest and best ever. Spend $1,000 and we'll only charge you $750. Or spend $2,000 and we'll only charge you $1,450. That's right, spend $2,000 and we'll only charge you $1,450. Don't miss the biggest and best National Tiles May Mayhem event of all time. So rush into National Tiles now and save. Conditions apply.
Big news! The 2024 plate clearance sale is on at Austrac Campers. Save up to $11,000 on hybrid campers, plus get a bonus 3.3 kVA generator and 200-watt solar panel with every purchase. Austrac Campers! Limited stock, don't miss out.
Dan Murphy's Best in Glass Wine Awards for 2025 are here. A celebration of outstanding wines curated by their expert wine merchants. So finding the perfect drop has been made easy. Shop in store or online at danmurphys.com.au. T's and C's apply. Choose to drink wise.
Looking for your perfect home? At Rossdale Homes, we can make it happen. Explore our huge range of house and land packages today at rossdalehomes.com.au. With a variety of designs, locations and prices to suit every budget, your new home is just a click away. Got your own home design in mind? No problem. We'll customise a package just for you, backed by our fixed price guarantee. Rossdale Homes, your local SA builder. Because trust is a must.
Toolkit Depot has all the gear for every trade under one roof, backed by their price beat promise.
Rowey and Timmy G, the 5AA Sports Show.
7 to 5, Jimmy Bartell is coming up at 5 o'clock, and we have tickets here for 5AA's Ultimate Friday Knockoffs. How good does this sound? The Beer and Barbecue Fest, it's their 10th birthday. It's coming up on the 6th of June on a Friday night. Your tickets for you and a mate into our VIP area are here right now. If you want to head along, we'll give you some beer, some barbecue, and we'll give you a great spot to sit in front of the big screen.
Bit
with
of
the footy
entertainment. Penbo and I are going to be there.
How good's that?
Yeah, so we're going to...
Now that money can't buy.
Don't the Crows play that night?
They do, against the Lions.
There you go. So Pimbo would be he'd be really invested.
Oh yeah,
I'll be invested in the beer and barbecue.
So if you want those tickets, VIP style, 82230055. You can call right now. It is last drinks, but only for now at the Beer and Barbecue Fest, 10th and final year, as you know it. It's the King's birthday weekend, and the website, if you want tickets, beerbarbecuefest.com.au.
5 to 5. This is interesting from John, and I'll put it to you, Timmy.
Yeah.
So were the players who did their hammies at Adelaide Oval last weekend running anywhere near the cricket pitches?
Well, firstly, all cricket pitches are out. That's why we couldn't have the Shield game there.
Yeah.
But secondly, Danger was in the forward line. Obviously, Lockie Jones was in the back line.
Yeah.
And as Doc said, they were all different. I didn't see where Horn Francis and Bowes did there. You might suggest in the midfield, but yeah, it's hard. It's a hard pick. And
Doc Larkin said it. They're all different ages, all different ways of doing it, and they have all different recoveries.
Yeah,
hammies, they're not a straight line hammies.
No, they're not. Yeah, I had a bit of trouble. Can you believe it? A lot of people used to say you have to be quick to do a hammy, but I'm evidence of that. You don't.
No.
You just have to have a bare back.
I did hammies.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But you were reasonably quick off the mark.
No, not really. L4, I had trouble with my L4 and that nerve that came through.
That's the one.
That's the one, isn't it?
I had a lumbar punch in there.
Oh, God.
Good fun. Hey, Brad Scott was he was on, I think, Channel 9. And,
yes, he was.
Talking and discussing a few of the matters that they discussed with Andrew Dillon and Laura Kane. A couple that I like and I want to talk about is this first one. He wants to get rid of the sub.
The majority of coaches, we did just a basic poll with the senior coaches, and I think it was roughly 13 or 14 coaches would like to just go to 5 on the bench.
What would you like?
I'd like 5 on the bench.
Yep. So why are they saying no?
The view is that if there are injuries in game, that it can affect the outcome of the game in terms of the result. So one team has 2 injuries, that the sub mitigates that loss of injury somewhat because the other team can't out-rotate you. But with an interchange cap now, I don't think that happens.
What about grit and fight? Some of our best wins were when you had no bench.
Correct.
Best wins.
I'll go to a quote my wife always says to me, too bad, too sad. If you get injuries, that's part of the game, and too bad, too sad. Move on, get on with it,
But we're regulating or coaching out grit, fight, determination, will, want.
And sometimes you'd be thinking, how good would this win be when we're 2 down?
God.
So
and at every level, everyone in their car would be saying, the best wins I had, Div 8, Div 5, Adelaide Hills,
we're
Country
down to
League,
17 men.
And we won.
Yeah.
We found a way to win.
Yeah, I'm with
Get rid of it.
Fantastic.
8223 0000. We'll get to Jimmy Bartell straight after the news.
Rowey and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
All right, that'll be absolutely diddly squat.
Buy any vehicle from Southern Cherry before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Driven by Australian Motors.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Mini Jumbuck, Australia's favourite wool bedding products. Now located in McLaren Vale, Mini Jumbuck has a great range of quality Australian-made wool bedding products to suit all sleepers and all climates. You'll love their extensive range of Australian-made quilts, mattress toppers and pillows too. And remember, Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale also stock a huge range of genuine sheepskin Ugg boots and quality merino wool clothing. For Australia's favourite wool products, call into Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale, open 7 days.
Why do KFC call it a slider? Because you slide right into KFC when they're just $2, which they are right now. A mouth-watering original tender all wrapped up into one FLG snack for just $2. I mean, it's your call. KFC, FLG. Not everywhere and not forever. Pick up only.
Ray White, big name in real estate, but also the biggest name in business broking. What makes us big? Our people, like Brett Buckley and his team. MBA, lecturer, and multi-time SA Business Broker of the Year. Brett doesn't just read a P&L, he feels it. If you're selling or expanding your business, Brett can take your business apart and find you more money. And we're not talking small change. Go on, touch base with Brett. Search Ray White Business Sales SA.
The Adelaide Showground Farmers Market has a producer's guarantee. Everything is produced by the people selling it, so it's all local. It means you know who distilled your gin, who baked your bread, whose chooks laid your eggs, and who picked your veggies. It means less food miles, reducing your carbon footprint, and your food is tastier, fresher, and often lasts longer. Join as a member at the Adelaide Showground Farmers Market to save 10% on everything all year long. Visit us every Sunday morning from 8:30 to 12:30.
We live in a coastal property. It's a 3-storey residence that's built on quite a steep sloping block. We needed the house repainted. It hadn't been painted since we've been here for 12 years.
We chose Paint Professionals because they were the only people that we made contact with who seemed to think that this was possible. I'd definitely recommend Paint Professionals to others. We're very impressed with the way they approach the job and we're extremely happy with the results.
At Meals on Wheels SA, they believe there should be a magic moment in everyone's day. So every meal on wheels is nutritious, wholesome, something to look forward to. The Big Brunch is a unique way to share the love and connect the community. You can host your own Big Brunch at home, in the office or at school and help Meals on Wheels SA continue to make a difference this June. To get started on your Big Brunch, go to thebigbrunchdrive.com.
At Edwardstown Mazda's biggest ever end of financial year sale, drive away with up to $10,000 in savings and go into the draw to win the ultimate New Zealand getaway. Only at Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply.
The latest local, national and international news for South Australia. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Down to 5 tonight, sunny tomorrow 19. With the 5 o'clock news, I'm Mel Usher.
Beat the winter rush today and make sure your home is comfortable all year round with Mannix.
The state budget is only a few weeks away. The Premier today made his first pre-budget announcement. He has first home buyers in his sights. Peter Malinauskas says it's called the Rent to Buy Affordable Housing Initiative.
This is an innovative policy, a rent-to-buy scheme for people who find themselves stuck in the rental trap, unable to get access to the market. We are now providing them an opportunity. It's a partnership between the government, the housing trusts and Homestart.
2 Liberal elders are criticising the Nationals' decision to split from the coalition, urging the parties to reunite as soon as possible. Zach De Silva has more.
Former Prime Ministers John Howard and Tony Abbott say the Nationals' decision to part ways with the Liberals has left the opposition weaker. Mr Abbott has taken to social media saying he hopes the split can be resolved as soon as possible, while Mr Howard says the more time the parties spend apart, the harder it'll be to reunite.
It's a stupid move.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese won't be drawn on the chaos, but does have some pointed words of advice.
Political parties will not be successful if they're focused on themselves.
Mr Albanese is also warning the Liberals and Nationals may have their staffing allocations changed because of the split.
A man faced court today on drug and firearm charges following a search of his Paradise home. Police allegedly seized a loaded handgun and found a small drug lab. The 45-year-old charged with possessing an unregistered firearm and ammunition without a licence, drug trafficking and possessing prescribed equipment to manufacture a controlled drug. Our regular dishwashing habits could be polluting the environment with harmful plastics. University of Queensland researchers have found a single dishwasher cycle could release around 920,000 micro and nanoparticles into wastewater. Environmental researcher Dr Elvis Okofu says that impacts the underwater ecosystem as well as consumers.
Micro and nanoplastics are indeed a concern in terms of the broader environmental context due to their persistence, their small size, and then the potential to bioaccumulate. You know, these are small particles that get into the environment if they are released, and then they can be taken up along the food chain.
And there have been tributes today for actor George Wendt, who played Norm in the long-running television show Cheers after his death at the age of 76. A statement from his family saying he died peacefully in his sleep at home.
Do you mind if I say something?
Of course not, Norman.
Sometimes a man and a woman are so afraid of being vulnerable to rejection that neither one of them will take the first step of admitting their true feelings.
Norman, that's beautiful.
I do have a romantic side, Diane. I know I make a lot of jokes about Vera, but the truth is, if that woman ever packed her bags and left me, I don't know what I'd do first.
Now Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Collect the new 2025 AFL footy cards at Sports Card World, Regent Arcade, Rundle Mall.
Port Sasava Ratugolea has been ruled out at this weekend's clash against FIVEAA after some minor tightness in his hamstring. He joins a growing injury list at Alberton, with Jason Horne-Francis and Lockie Jones also out with hamstring issues. The club is under pressure to get back on the winners list. Ken Hinkley also under pressure as coach.
We've got to bring great energy, and we've got to bring it for 4 quarters, not for 2.5 quarters or for 2 quarters. We've got to bring it for 4 quarters. And, we've proven over a good period of time that we can do that. We've given you examples this year that suggest we're not doing it as well as we should.
Another coach under fire is Tottenham's Ange Postecoglou. He says he isn't feeling any extra pressure ahead of the Europa Cup final tomorrow morning against Manchester United. The Spurs boss says the sun will come up regardless of the result.
My future's assured. I've got a beautiful family. I've got a great life. I'll keep on winning trophies till I finish, wherever that is. So don't worry about my future, mate. My future is not entwined with anything, right? My future is assured.
That's sport. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Sharman Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the Big White Building, still at 412 North East Road.
O'Halloran Hill, a breakdown on the Southern Expressway near Seacombe Road. Slow going outbound. Globe Derby Park, a car on fire following a crash. Port Wakeful Road near Martins Road. Glenburst, Wanamain, Paynham Road near Edward Street with speeds at 40 and a lane closed city bound. And a camera this afternoon, First Street at Gawler South. It's schnitzel heaven at Faster Pasta, 300-gram chicken cotoletta, mushrooms, onions, cherry tomato with cream sauce and crispy rosemary potatoes at Faster Pasta. Dine in only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Dropping to just 5 overnight. Sunny tomorrow, 19. Friday, sunny and 19. Saturday, a shower or two, 21. Right now, it's 16 degrees. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News tonight.
I'm Beth XL. Tonight, exclusive. A trader's shocking injuries, forced to confront shoplifters on her own at a major shopping centre. Rent to buy, the new scheme for housing trust tenants. The power pricing tactics costing you hundreds. How robotic technologies revolutionising knee surgery. And the link between cold sores and dementia. 9 News, your news, nightly at 6 on 9 and 9 Now.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide. The 5AA Sports Show. Rowey,
I am flabbergasted.
And Timmy G.
Absolute sports festival.
Yes, on this Wednesday, 6 after 5, still loads to come on the show tonight. Where are they now? With a Norwood 1984 Premiership hero. That's coming up at 5:30 tonight. Mark Bosnich as Ange Postecoglou enters an amazing opportunity with Tottenham in the Europa final tomorrow morning. And we're taking your calls, 8223 0000. And you can watch the show live on the Morn Team Cheltenham Hyundai live stream on our 5AA Facebook and YouTube social pages. You can visit them as well at Port Road, Cheltenham. And thanks to Statesman Windows, Adelaide's most trusted boutique window company, SA family owned and operated since 1980. Let's get to this man.
Bartel checks on it brilliantly.
He can do it all, James Bartel.
He's my brother, man.
Jimmy Bartel on the 5AA Sports Show.
Yes, each and every Wednesday, thanks to Statesman Windows, we get Jimmy Bartel. Jimmy, welcome. There's been a fair bit of talk interstate and here about Port Adelaide's succession plan. It always comes up after a loss, but this was a heavy one again.
Yeah, it was, and I think that's the most disappointing thing for Port Adelaide fans and for people like myself who just like watching footy. And I think I've mentioned probably 1,000 times now with you guys, of course, I've got the connection with Kenny, and the point that I keep stressing is that he will do his utmost to see through the plan, because in Kenny's world, if you have an agreement, well, you fulfil the agreement. So that's all I've been saying regarding will he see the end of it. Well, until Port Adelaide say, look, maybe we should just part ways early. Now, that's a discussion in itself. Like, do you want Kenny to sort of give a bit of cover towards the end of the year, but let Josh make some team selections in regards to where he wants to see guys play? So, there could be some more losses, but does Kenny provide a bit of air cover for Josh as he makes his way into the driver's seat? That's probably the big thing that disappoints me the most was I felt like they've given up at times in contest, and I've seen too much footage of it. I think that's a harsh thing to say about its side, but if if they're not within 2 to 3 goals at half time, they just let go of the rope. And that's not an opinion. That's backed up by the numbers. The fact that
Correct.
they've got 3 hidings by over 70-plus points. And I've seen too much footage, and you can't hide behind, or you can't hide in the behind-the-goals footage. That just exposes you. So does that mean guys are realising, you know what, this is sort of a bit of a transition year for us as well. We can sort of go through the motions. You don't want that to creep in.
We had a caller, a unique home-style food text say players think sometimes they're given 100%, but they're not. Do you feel that's something that's inside them at the moment?
It could be. There could be some guys who are wide like that they probably think, oh, we're doing everything right until you show them. And maybe that's what needs to go on at Port Adelaide, but probably pushing back a little bit, the knockers of the handover plan. Well, Sydney handed over to Dean Cox and they got the exact same record. So, you can find some pros and cons in it, but back to your point, that sometimes you think you're doing something really well or you're doing it enough until it gets outlined to you, probably in a meeting and go, look, come on, we know you can do better than this, or next time can you be in this position? Maybe next time we set you up like this. But first and foremost, you want to understand if they know they're doing the wrong thing, and then you can address it.
I'm with you. I don't think Ken's got quitting in his DNA. He'll see this through because he's just an old warrior. David Koch is the president of the board. I don't think he's going to do anything because if he does, it's going to admit fault to the succession plan not being right. And I'm a little bit with you. I reckon it'd be great for Josh Carr to get some clear air going into 26. So I reckon he's going to see it through, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think he is. But it's just, I don't know. And you guys know better than me. You're well connected there in Adelaide. I don't know how much is being handed over already. Is it Ken's the figurehead and he's doing the talks pre and post game? Is it business as usual like it was last year? Is it, as the year's going on, Ken sits there and lets Josh drive match committee? So until you can work out who's doing what, it's a bit hard to judge from afar.
Crows lost to Collingwood again, 10 in a row. I reckon they blew it.
Yeah, they've had their chances.
Yeah.
I know it's 10 in a row, but there's got to be a certain point where you sort of cut it off, because some of the guys don't own the whole 10 losses. Tex has probably won because he's been at Adelaide for 35 years. It feels like he's just getting greyer and greyer, the Texans. But if you're some of the younger group, or your Neil Bullens of the world have only just arrived, you don't own the previous 9 losses, do you?
That's it.
I think we've got to remember too, if the Crows didn't lose and they played someone else, we'd still be talking about Collingwood as being the premiership favourite at this point of the year.
Yep.
So I think you can take the positives out of it. They ran the premiership favourite to 10 points at the MCG in front of their big crowd with conditions that probably didn't suit the lineup they had forward of the footy. So it depends how you dice it up. Yeah, there's some room for improvement, but it's a pretty good platform to start from.
It's the exact positives I took out the game, Jimmy. Now, talking about positives, how good is it that the CEO and the footy boss, that's Laura Kane and Andrew Dillon, got their size 9 slippers or boots or shoes, in Kane's case, from underneath the table and went out and met the coaches?
Well, I think the big highlight is the boss knows his pubs. He's picked some nice pubs around Melbourne, so he knows which ones to get a good beer off the wood from. So I think he's getting good credit for that. I don't think the issue with Andrew Dillon and Laura Kane, to their credit, is the fact that they don't listen. I've been involved in club around those two. But it's actually what they do with the information and the slowness in which they act, and then the messaging or the communication back the other way. Yeah, sure, they're listening, but it's the communication piece, it's the support as well, that where they're being a bit lacking. Everything is taking 2+ years to do. If you go back, it took them 2 years to finally move Gill on. Then it took them another 18 months to find the head of footy, which ended up being Laura Kane. Now it's taken them 2 years to find Dills as 2IC. We've been talking about the drugs policy for 2 years. We've been talking about mental health and wellbeing for nearly 2 years. The Indigenous, or the lack of numbers, or the decreasing numbers of Indigenous players has been on their desk for close to 3 years. So, and how long has it been since those dirty words COVID is passed, and the fact that coaches, CEOs and football departments are still jumping up and down, can you help us out? I think that's where the issue lies.
Yeah, so a lot of that falls on the executive, and if it's ran like a normal business, the executive presents to the board, in this case it's a commission, and then the commission rubber stamp it, boing, make it happen, action. So where's the bottleneck? Is it the commission or is it the executive?
Well, I think it's more on the executive, especially the way sporting organisations run these days. The board or the commission, or if you sit on a board at a club, you're an oversight committee. So it's more the executive, and then if the executive's not performing, well, then the commission or board has to move people on or make tough decisions. But we've got an issue there. Like, is the chairman trying to do John Farnham and he wants another lap around again?
Yeah.
What's he doing? And then we've got some commissioners who have been there for, a very, very long time. Are they still there? Are they the best place now to address like the issues that we've got in the game and the broader community with football? So, like, the problem is, like, everyone's sort of just meandering along, and what ends up happening is it's like the old broken window effect. That, you just walk past the broken window and all problems keep bobbing up because you just walk past that problem. Well, do we know what's going on with insufficient intent? Like, here's a real simple solution: that stop driving fans and supporters and clubs mad. Just stand in front of a lectern with a microphone in front of you and tell us what you want. Or what you tend to do these days is put it out in a memo. So I'll let you have your memo. Just say, if you kick it off the ground and it goes out of bounds, there'll be a free kick against. And people will be pissed off for probably a week or two, but then you know what will happen in a game? Go, you kicked it off the ground, that's free.
Yeah, it gets taken up pretty quickly. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, so there's a bit to work on. I don't think people doubt there's talent with Dylan and Kane, but the fact is they've got pick of the litter. They can pick anybody they want from the AFL world, the broader sporting world, but they haven't. So they've got to fill their stable full of stars.
Well, you ever heard of a broom, you two?
I don't think they necessarily have to clean out, but they have to add.
And do something. It seemed like the top topics were the soft cap to try and get the coach's wage taken out, the sub for removing the sub, and the rule interpretations, which you touched on. Did you feel it was that was their sort of priorities as coming from the coaches?
Yeah, well, I don't know why it took a dinner for them to work that out. Everyone's been talking about it, and we're not short of football shows and programs or the ability to talk to the people at Clubland. So, again, we'll see what comes of it, apart from the fact that they've swirled some Merlot and eaten a nice steak.
Thursday night might be doing exactly that, but I might be in the background watching Western Bulldogs take on the Cats. That should be a cracking game, both in form.
It's a beauty. The Dogs play pretty well down at GMHBA Stadium, but without quite getting the wins that they've been very close to getting in recent times. They play a great style of footy, the Dogs, and on the skinny ground, territory is everything, and your ability to win stoppage and contested footy and come out the front. And you got Bontempelli. Richards is a star. Like, he's no longer the halfback flanker just filling in the midfield. He's a midfield star. Frazier's a gun. They've got good players everywhere. Libba is an animal when it comes to contested footy, and they've been able to generate scores. I think what people have been admiring about Bevo is we know he can swing the magnets, but if he's setting up his side at the start of the year and he's put up his forward line, he would have had Ugelhagen, Waitman and Darcy. Well, he's been without them Darcy he had for the start of the year, but the other two he hasn't seen. And they're second or third in attack. It's just quite extraordinary.
Hey, before you go, Jimmy, see your former premiership coach Chris Scott's going to buy a house in Hyde Park, one of our more affluent areas. Been seen kicking the tyres with a big ruler. Or not,
opening drawers and opening cupboards and you name it.
He's coming to Adelaide, Jimmy.
Oh, he's got that much cash, he could buy all the premier suburbs around Australia. He's not short of a quid, Chris Scott, especially if he's got a couple of his side hustles that people are losing their mind about with Morris Finance and somewhere else. Maybe he might be just setting up another business, just doing coach as a bit of a after-hours thing. He might be the businessman, Chris Scott, and just doing coaching on the side the way he's going. But he wouldn't be short of $1. He'd be buying everywhere. It's probably 22 property.
Okay, so you're more down that path. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I drawing too long a bow to maybe suggest that he's got a South Australian wife and family in SA, and interests here, and there's a couple of clubs here. One is Port, and the other one is Crows. And I'm more thinking about the white collar one down the road from Port. Would I be drawing too long a bow?
All I'd say is somebody floated what they thought was a great story this week on a potential coaching change at the football club, and it turned into a kite flying exercise. So don't go down that path.
I won't. Okay, I'll up that with Neil Barnes now on the board.
Oh, Barmy. Barmy's a genius. He's one of my favourite people in football, but all I'm just saying, just caution when you take your kite out into the park.
I don't fly kites, Jimmy. I only deal in facts, son.
Oh, jeez.
No, he's still got a couple of years to go. The cat.
I'm just saying, that was a wry smile there, Jimmy. Love your work. See you, mate.
Hey, thanks, Jimmy.
See you guys.
Each and every Wednesday, Jimmy Bartell, thanks to Statesman Windows, Adelaide's boutique window company trusted by the best builders in Adelaide. And just like Jimmy, they're elite performers, consistently delivering at the highest level. Need the best windows? See Statesman Windows.
Let's check your traffic around Adelaide.
Afternoon at O'Halloran Hill, a breakdown on the Southern Expressway to Seeker Road, slow going outbound. Glenburst, Watermain, Paynham Road near Edwards Reach, speeds at 40 with a lane closed citybound. And look out for works at West Lakes, which is sluggish too. Frederick Road near Settlers Drive, speeds at 40. Cameras, Old South Road, Old Granella, and the Southern Expressway, Lonsdale. Make tough jobs more effortless in the GWM Canon Alpha plug-in hybrid from $60,490 drive away, plus free charger for ABN holders. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowey and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
Crows big man Riley O'Brien joins Rowey and Timmy G each week on the 5AA Sports Show. Find out what's going on at West Lakes thanks to Harvey Norman Clearance Centre. Cooking appliances, washing machines, dishwashers, TVs and more. 919 Marion Road, Marion.
Ready for your next adventure? Austrac campers are built tough for Australia's wild landscapes. From the coast to the outback, you'll experience unmatched quality with every adventure.
Austrac campers.
See movies how they should be seen. Hear movies how they should be heard. All on the big screen with Quake Sound at Wallace. And now you can see them for less and enjoy candy bar discounts and other special member offers and freebies. Simply become a My Wallace member today. It's free, it's easy and it's full of benefits. Go to wallace.com.au and click on Join My Wallace today. Wallace Mitcham, Mount Barker, Noarlunga and the Piccadilly. South Australia's home of big screen magic and entertainment.
It's Aussie-made week. Time to back local legends like Slape and Sons. We all know
they're
Slape
very
and
good
Sons.
at it. They're very good at it. They've been part of Aussie barbecue since 1965. That's 60 years, mate. And they're made right here in SA using 100% Aussie meat. What else was made in 1965?
Me.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, Mum and Dad had a little dance at the old Nord Town Hall. And oh, no, do that noise. Calvary Hospital I was born.
Oh, there you go.
Were you born there? Everyone
no.
wasn't that era.
No.
Anyway, let's get back to snags. Talking about snags, hey, you definitely don't want to be that guy that rocks up to a barbie with that no-name supermarket snag, and you just think, oh God, I know this is going to be
awful. What'd you bring that for?
They're cheap.
You could have gone and got slapes. Grab a pack of 2 slapes. They taste so good, you'll be the hero of the barbie. And you'll overcoat it, which you got to do with snags.
Well, you do. And you're backing a South Aussie family. You know what we are in South Australians? Parochial. A South Australian business and local jobs.
Especially when it comes to Slape and Sons snags. So back SA and your taste buds and grab a pack of Slape and Sons and taste the difference for yourself.
As a South Aussie-based not-for-profit health insurer, Health Partners isn't just your health partner. We're your tooth-checking partner, hammy-stretching partner, chart-squinting partner. We're your bone-mending, script-filling, arch-lifting, giving, salad-suggesting, generous limit-giving, member-supporting, SA-loving partner. So for great value health cover, there's no better partner in health than Health Partners. Health insurance made human.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Here's who you can support around Adelaide. Health Partners is your local not-for-profit health insurer supporting South Aussies for over 85 years. Health Partners is health insurance made human.
Mannix Air Conditioning is the SA name you know and trust. Beat the winter rush today and make sure your home is comfortable all year round with Mannix. 5AA, supporting local business.
All right, so that'll be absolutely diddly squat. 0. Zilch. Nada.
Buy any new, used or demo vehicle from Wayville Hyundai before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland on us. Groceries covered, car sorted, more money for what matters. Visit wayvillehyundai.com.au to find out more. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Another great deal driven by Australian Motors.
Toolkit Depot has all the gear for every trade under one roof, backed by their price beat promise.
Rowey and Timmy G, the 5AA Sports Show.
Whatever happens beyond tomorrow is kind of irrelevant when you think about the opportunity that exists right now, and that is to provide something special for this football club and for the supporters and everyone who's worked so hard, not just this year, but for the last 15, 16 years been for a trophy and 41 years for a European trophy.
24 after 5, that's Ange Postecoglou, who will be leading Tottenham in probably one of the biggest sporting moments for Australian sport in quite some time in the Europa final tonight. Jamie in Heathcote has sent us a great text on the unique homestyle food text line saying, I've been a Spurs fan since the 90s, and as you can see by the kits in the photo he sent in, I've collected over the years. Very nervous for tonight. It's much bigger than just Ange, and to be honest, I think he'll get the sack, win or lose, but come on, you Spurs.
Oh, good on you, Jamie. No, he won't. How could you sack someone after winning the UEFA Europa League final versus Man United?
They're brutal.
Is it true they've played Man United 3 times this year and won all 3? Can we fact-check that?
I've heard that too.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Well, that one's from Maria Albanese, and she can tend to be a little bit there. That she needs to be fact-checked. I don't even reckon it's a girl.
Oh, who? Ange?
No, Maria.
Oh, right. Oh, that's
I
right.
reckon it's a
we'll
dude.
check that. We'll check that. But I think they have.
Their last meeting, they won 1-0.
Yeah.
We know that much.
I think they've done
They will
right.
win. How could you sack a manager by winning that cup tomorrow morning?
At least he'll keep his promise of silverware in his second year.
Oh, God, I hope he wins.
If you want to watch it, 9gem or Stan Sport, and we'll speak to Mark Bosnich a little later too about it.
So 9gem's free to air.
That's the free to
air.
air.
Stan Sport, you've got to have the app. Is that how you do it?
Or the subscription.
Okay.
Yes.
So will 9gem have ads and the other one not?
I don't know if there's a...
It'd just be.
Yeah, it's just the same
And
coverage.
it's played somewhere in Spain, isn't it? A neutral ground.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I hope he wins and bores it up, that bloke that called him a clown.
Yeah.
Talking about clowns, Bailey Smith a couple of weeks ago, because he left the Bulldogs because he wanted to go to Geelong in front of a bigger crowd and play in front of big crowds because Bulldogs don't
Was
draw
that the
the
reason?
crowds. Well, it was one of the reasons. Have a listen. This is the young fella.
At 82,000 versus Collingwood on a Saturday night at the G. How good's that?
It's beautiful, mate. Not getting that at Ballarat, so...
Well, that's true.
Oh, he was having a little tongue-in-cheek at his mates, I think. Yeah, and
You're not getting that at Ballarat.
They've gone backwards and forwards. I think the Bont had a crack back, but all in good fun and jest.
I do like Luke Beveridge. There's something about him. Well, he's premiership coach for one. He's a no-nonsense rooster for 2. He goes to work on a skateboard 3. He's got bigger arms than Kingsley 4. And he's got a bit of mongrel in him. But he calls a spade a spade. Have a listen.
No doubt there's going to be a pretty big crowd, and I won't say it, but it's taken the Bulldogs to go down there for them to almost pack out their stadium. So I know what that means for Baz. I know what the headline's going to be now.
But he's got a bit of... I like him.
Yeah, well... And he's just playing to the narrative that Bailey Smith is setting. And they know him very well. They know him inside out, and he knows he's having tongue-in-cheek cracks at him. But it will be a very good game of football. That's the thing. I think we're in for a good game of football. I'd even say probably Bulldogs start favourite.
Well, Dangerfield's out. Yeah. Danger's a big out.
Danger's out. Well, Holmes is out too. So
that's another big out.
So, yeah, I reckon it'll be a cracking game of footy, but I'd probably say Bulldogs might start favourite.
Do like
which is a big ask down there.
I do like. Were they the ones that opened you up last year in the finals?
Geelong.
Cats did.
Cats did. Oh. And the year before it was the Dogs.
No, that was 2021.
Oh, was that long ago?
That was nasty. Prelim. Absolutely belted us and then went over to the Perth grand final, remember?
Yeah.
And we're in it up until about 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, I went to that grand final.
Third quarter, Melbourne went crazy.
They did.
Yeah, but not until there was about 10 minutes to go. It wasn't long in that third quarter. I think the Bont kicked a goal that put him in front in that third quarter. And then they just had this unbelievable run where they kicked, was it 6 in 5 minutes?
6 or 7 goals, yeah. It was
amazing.
Good win.
It was an
Good
incredible
win.
grand final.
Yeah, and after the break, going to speak to one of my ex-teammates. His nickname was Nugget.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
He's a Norwood hero. He played in a flag in, 84? He's in Where Are They Now next.
The 5AA Sports Show with Rowey and Timmy G.
The split between the Nationals and the Libs. The coalition is no more. It's an 80-year relationship.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
There's clearly one winner out of all this, and his name's Anthony Albanese. I mean, it weakens the opposition.
Adelaide's leading breakfast show.
Even if it's resolved quickly, it's already given Labor ammo for the next election campaign.
5AA Breakfast.
A government which most Australians regard as poor is now in much better shape.
Weekdays from 6 a.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
The Great Caravan and RV end of financial year sale is on now at Camper Agent RV Supercentre. It's the biggest sale event of the year with up to 20,000 off selected new caravans and motorhomes. Plus, up to 20,000 off selected pre-owned motorhomes and camper vans. Unbeatable value with a 3-year warranty available on eligible models. Shop from top names like Winnebago, Windsor, Corrible, Hitchhiker and X-Tour. Ends June 30. T's and C's apply. Only at Camper Agent RV Supercentre, Parafield Gardens.
Before we do Bouger, a quick text. The only thing I don't like about Beveridge is his new chompers. He's a cross between Kenny Callender and Liz Smiley. Now, that's Maria. Maria has 1 in 100. And you're not Maria.
Oh, dear.
Now, has he got new chompers?
I've not noticed
Luke
myself.
Beveridge.
Yeah, I can't say. I keep a close eye on those things.
Here's the test when you get new chompers.
Yeah.
You can't get them too white.
No.
If you can eat an apple through a picket fence, you've gone too big.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
And maybe you've got a fair overbite.
You might be able to sing Queen songs when you do karaoke. Hey, let's straighten up. Now, if you need to move from A to B this autumn, your best move is hiring from Budget Car and Truck Rental.
Yeah, they're so helpful. They'll get you the boxes, they'll get you the tape, to put on the boxes for the storage. They'll give you the furniture covers. They'll make sure all your possessions stay pristine. That is Budget, my friend.
That is. You're right. And you need the perfect set of wheels. Their range. Oh, their range. They got cars big and small, moving vans, trucks available on a standard driver's licence.
That's
my
what we
little
want.
Gemma whizzed around in one.
Well, they drive so beautifully.
Oh, they're brilliant. You got utes, you got hybrids, you got trailers, 12 to 25 seat buses and much more.
Now, once you've got your vehicle of choice, Budget will help you out with the blankets, the trolleys and everything else you need to make that go smooth.
No one likes moving, do they?
No.
But they make it smooth.
Hard work.
I like smooth.
Done me back in.
Job done, easy with Budget. Look, it's family owned. It's a business. It's got friendly staff and that you can really count on. Multiple locations across the state. Family owned. I love that.
Fantastic. Got something big to budge or budget with Budget Rental Truck. Call 1327 27.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Good evening, Mel Usher with the 5AA News headlines. The state government says today's housing announcement is aimed at getting people off the rental roundabout. The Prime Minister has suggested the Liberals and Nationals may have their staffing arrangements changed in the wake of their split. Dozens of residents have been rescued from rooftops on the New South Wales mid-north coast as the region deals with flooding. And in sport, Port Adelaide has added another name to its growing injury list, Esava Radigalia. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Charmin Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the big white building, still at 412 North East Road.
Afternoon, a breakdown to look out for at O'Halloran Hill. It's on the Southern Expressway to Seacombe Road, pretty slow going outbound. Burst one made at Glen, Paynham Road near Edward Street, speeds at 40, the lane closed, and another burst at Valley View, Nelson Road at Wright Road. Westbourne Park, slow at the moment, Goodwood Road near Cross Road, that's for works, and look out for a camera Old South Road at Old Ranella. Panadol helps relieve everyday pain. Not the pain of missing yet another light, but for the headache it gives you. Panadol's got you covered. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. Incorrect use could be harmful. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast down to 5 tonight, sunny tomorrow 19. Right now it's 14 degrees. We'll have more news at 6 on 5AA, always Adelaide.
I'm here to let you in on a hidden holiday gem just 12 k's from the CBD. Marion Holiday Park has it all. A stunning lagoon pool, epic water park, heated indoor pool, mini 10-pin bowling, an adventure playground with a jumping pillow, games room, indoor tennis court, cafe, outdoor bar, kitchen and cinema, plus pickleball and basketball. With luxury poolside apartments, creekside villas, cosy bungalows and caravan and camping sites, there's something for everyone. Get away from it all while staying right here at Marion Holiday Park, Adelaide's hidden gem.
G'day, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. When we first thought about radio, we realised that we really didn't understand what the audience was like and what they'd like to hear from us and hear about us. And Jimmy and the creative team at FIVEAA helped develop our ads, and as a result of that, you know, we really started to connect with the audience very quickly, and it was a really positive experience for us from the get-go. Pretty much as soon as we started on FIVEAA, it was interesting. A lot of my friends would say, I've just heard you on the radio, and I thought, I didn't think you guys would listen to FIVEAA, and that really opened my eyes to how wide the audience was.
To get your message out there and grow your business, visit 5AA.com.au and hit the Advertise With Us link for more information.
Toolkit Depot has all the gear for every trade under one roof, backed by their price beat promise.
Rowey and Timmy G, the 5AA Sports Show.
26-6, Mark Bosnich is going to join us soon as we talk the Europa final, and Tottenham on their way tomorrow morning. You can watch it on Stan Sport and on 9Gem. But right now it's time to get into our favourite segment of the week, all thanks to Walco, who are at the centre of SA's biggest cover-up with their incredibly good-looking Walco mesh pool cover.
The 5AA Sports Shows, where are they now? Past legends, past glories.
Well, Timmy's an ex-teammate of mine.
Yeah.
His nickname's Nugget. He was as tall and as lean and as good a tap ruckman as I had at Norwood.
He was almost the opposite of a nugget.
Well, exactly right. He played plenty of games for us, 140. More importantly, he was a part of our 1984 history-making premiership team. Went on to play in the Lions for Brisbane Bears in their first year in 87. He's an absolute ripper. We speak of Neil Hine. Nugget, welcome.
Yes, good to talk to you guys. How are you guys going down there?
Good, good.
Excellent, my friend.
Timmy mentioned it. How could you have a nickname Nugget when you're as lean and as thin as anything?
Yeah, well, I think it goes back to the very early days when I don't know, back in the day they had this. And when I was a lad, I was very well tanned, and they had that nugget shoe polish. And this bloke said,
right.
I must have been covered with nugget shoe polish, and it just sort of stuck. So I've been nugget for about the last 60 years.
That's right. And they had the can of tan. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
That is
exactly.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I'd want to. I mean, you're the only teammate I knew that had to run around under the shower to get wet. You were that thin.
That's right. I wasn't ever carrying much weight, was I? No, that was the least of my worries. Yeah.
Now, Murray Bridge Ramblers was where you were from. How did you end up at Norwood then?
Because wasn't that a Sturt zone?
Oh, well, back in the day, it was a Norwood zone.
Ah, it did swap over. Right.
Yeah, it did swap. I reckon it was swapped over probably in, I don't know, it was the late 80s or early 90s. I'm not quite sure. But, yeah, up to that day, there was, up to that time, Neil Button came from sort of Murray Bridge Ramblers as well.
Wow.
And, yeah, so, I just started off there as a junior, and Norwood expressed a little bit of interest, and they asked me to come down when I was about, 16, and I decided to play another year of senior Colts. I played a year of senior Colts, then I played a year in the A grade at Ramblers, and then went to Norwood. So,
yeah. A bit like Rocket Maynard, didn't you travel down from the farm a couple of times a week?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I sort of teamed up with Rocket. We used to meet up at a given point somewhere, and we'd go down together. We did that for a little bit. So he'd come through from Lamoureux, and we'd talk farming on the way down and go from there. So, yeah.
How were those early days at the parade, mate? Meeting, I suppose, a lot of players that were, a bit household name and the like, but the great Wally Miller, of course, and Neil Balme was your coach.
Yeah, look, it was one of those things. I mean, when you look at it now and you think, look, I was 17 when I went to Norwood. I rolled up to the under-19s, and there was about 120, 30 kids out there, and I thought I might have been a bit of strife here, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I sort of quickly worked out that I didn't seem to be that much better than I was, and then I played about a few games in under-19s, and I got selected in the state under-19 side to play against the under-17s, the Teal Cup side.
Yeah.
And we played this game at Woodville Oval, and from there it progressed that the next week someone rang me up and said, look, we want you to come out to senior training, and I can tell you now, if you want to put yourself out of your comfort zone, roll up at 17 years old to Norwood and walk in, and there's, Michael Aish and Gallagher and McIntosh and Michael Lanny and all these blokes walking around. You've been watching on for the last, watching on television for the last, 5 years. And it was a bit daunting at the start, but it turned out all right in the end.
When did you feel comfortable, Muggs? Because you had a great tandem ruck duo with Big John Hall, and the way you guys used to work that pretty well, and you could take a mark on the back play and quite easily, and then you could go up forward and kick a goal. It worked out quite well, but when did that actually, when did you feel comfortable?
Well, I suppose I made my league debut the first year I went down. I played one league game in the first year I went down, and I must admit it was a bit of a shock playing, in front of 35,000 people at Footy Park against Glenelg, I think it was, yes. And I don't think it set the world on fire, but it was a bit of a shock from 6 months earlier playing at Ramblers in Murray Bridge with 300 cars around the oval. I suppose it took I suppose it takes a couple of years. I think the next year I might have played sort of 10 or 12 games, and then you gradually sort of got to a point where I think in 1983 I played most of the year, and you just sort of, I suppose, like most sports, you get to a point where you feel like I can actually do this. And I played a few games, and the club put a bit of confidence in you, and sort of went from there. So
let's roll forward to 84, the history making. We won it from fifth spot, first team to do it. Others have done it since. Now, just your memories of that grand final, Nug?
Well, look, it was an interesting one. I mean, we were sort of doing or dying for about 4 games in. We played against South Adelaide Centrals and then Glenelg and Port Adelaide. And I think, look, probably even the most die-hard Norwood supporter would have hoped, but I don't know whether they believed that we could beat Port Adelaide, because Port Adelaide were a very good side. But I suppose when you get, from the coaches down, from Barmy right through to the players, a belief that we just trust each other, we're doing our job, and it was a pretty unbelievable day, and you don't very rarely get the opportunity to sort of participate in something that makes history. But on that particular day we did, and I don't think Tim would probably even like to talk about it too much, I would have thought.
He just left the room.
Yeah, that's right. I think I read an article somewhere where he described it as the worst day of his life, I think.
That still stands.
Now, we know the KT mark. We know moments in that game that were brilliant. One that's talked about probably the most was the national anthem with Craig Bum. Did you start on the bench?
Yeah, I started on the bench that day, and all of a sudden, it's on for young and old in the national anthem. I think it's sort of been openly stated there was a bit of a plan to see whether they could upset Tim a bit. Apparently, that may have happened previously, and might have been able to try and put him off his game a bit, because he was obviously a great player, and he could have done some damage. I mean, I think he ended up still kicking 4 or 5 goals, but it was an interesting one. I think that was the end of. I think that may have actually been the end of teams lining up one-on-one with each other, because they went, hang on, we don't really want that going on. So I think from then on, every grand final they lined up opposite each other, so there couldn't have been any biffo in the national anthem. So, yeah.
Well, for those that can't remember back then, the players would break out in a position.
And then they'd play the anthem.
Yeah. So you're standing next to your foe.
Correct.
Now, one day something's going to happen. Who'd have thought it was Craig Barnes?
And it's amazing that it hadn't happened prior in any other grand final.
It is actually, isn't it? I mean, if you've ever been charged up, it's when you run out for a grand final, and there's always a little bit of niggle before the first bounce, and it is amazing that it took that long for it to happen. But that was the end of that particular style of lining up before the anthem.
In the sample, who were the guys you come up against that you thought, gee, these are good ruckmen?
Well, I suppose in the day, I mean, Port Adelaide had Russell Johnson and Dexter Kennedy.
Yes, that's right.
I know Dexter quite well now. I mean, I rucked against him for years. He's as good a bloke as you'll find in a day's march, but probably he was a very difficult opponent. Peter Carey, I mean,
great player.
Redden, what would there be? I reckon Woodville had Big Maxie Parker.
Yes.
There was some, and there was probably an era too in the 80s where, if you looked at not just the Port and Norwood sides. I mean, Port Adelaide had Eve and Leslie and Bradley and Russell and Anderson and Evans and all these blokes, and Norwood had the same. And every time you rolled up on a Saturday, you were playing against Kernan or the Germans or Clayton or someone. So I sort of think it was a great era to play in, and it was a bit of a golden era, I suppose. You always think of the era you played in as being good, but it was a pretty good era of footy in the SANFL, I think.
And then you get invited to join what was turning VFL into AFL to go to the newly formed Brisbane Bears. And what an experience that must have been. I mean, I knew obviously Mark Williams and
that's right.
Steve went up there as well. Benny Harris, they were guys I played with. And I remember talking to Ben Harris, and he said, yeah, Timmy, he said the Gold Coast, not really conducive to football, Timmy. How did you find it?
Well, it was sort of one of those things, I suppose. How do you end up there? But I remember, sometimes in life you just do the right thing at the right time. And in 1986, we played against Essendon. That's when the
right.
clubs used to play against the Victorian clubs.
Mm.
And I reckon we played Essendon this one night on Tuesday night down at Footy Park, and I reckon I probably played the best game of football of my life. And this Kevin Cheetah used to write an article in a paper called Inside Football.
That's right.
And so we'd go and get some supplies on a Friday afternoon down into Murray Bridge, and we'd buy a paper, Inside Footy, and he wrote an article in there that I don't know whether he'd been drinking, but he called me talented and athletic. Right? I don't know whether Kevin is either drinking or smoking something, but talented and athletic, I don't know whether I've been called that so many times. And so anyway, from there, all of a sudden the phone started ringing, and he sort of said, the Victorian club, the Swans, or someone should be looking at this bloke, and rah-rah. And so the phone started ringing, and all of a sudden I found Sydney on the phone and Fitzroy on the phone, and then Brisbane got on the phone, a bloke called Shane O'Sullivan. Shane O'Sullivan. He was mixed up with Carlton and Footscray, and he was the Brisbane man, and they just sort of rang me up and said, look, we've been watching you, and we want you to come over and see us. So over they came, and one thing led to another, and I thought, well, look, I don't know. It was one of those things that there was a bit of interest from other clubs, but I thought, well, here's an opportunity. They want me to come and play for them, and I was sort of, I suppose, I was prided myself as a footballer in the fact that I always tried to go to the next level, and I thought, well, let's have a go at this. So I ended up in Brisbane, and it was interesting. I mean, I don't think they'd form a club in the way in that way in this day and age, but at the time, it was what it was. So, it was interesting.
You were one of 6 priority picks the 87 year. Were they privately owned? Well, didn't Skase own them or something? It was
that's right.
It was a different model, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Christopher Skase owned them. Paul
Cronin.
Paul Cronin. Yeah. He was mixed up in it with it as well. And I probably think we probably should have been. I think the players and the coaches all wanted to be in Brisbane right from the word go. We were the Brisbane Bears.
That's right.
But probably Skase had his interest on the Gold Coast, so we went down to Carrara. But look, it was an interesting time. I mean, Christopher Skase used to roll up in his Rolls Royce and fly in his helicopter with Pixie, and it was an interesting time. But I suppose from that point of view, I was lucky enough to create a bit more history, I suppose, when we went down and beat North Melbourne in the first ever game.
Yeah, brilliant.
At the MCG. So managed to play on the first ever side. That was sort of probably one of the highlights of my career, I reckon.
Well done. And a dear mate of ours and yours, Mark Rubbers Micken, he was the captain, he won the BNF, and he was your other ruckman. Yeah, that's right. So Mick is actually, when we first got there, we were put into up to Brisbane, we were put into the Park Royal, and, everyone was trying to find houses and all this sort of stuff. So we found me and Greer found a place. So we actually had Mark live with us for a while. The big Mickers lived with us for a while. So that was interesting. So he was my offsider. Yeah.
Hey, you've had a marvellous football career, and we've been, reminiscing on that. But you're a bit modest, mate. 82 matches and 164 wickets for the Wistow Cricket Club. Is that correct?
Oh, hello.
Outstanding. A couple of flags in there as well. But the sad thing is, you made the wife score, Greer.
Well, that's right. She also made the sandwiches. They kept me playing until I was 38 at Wistow. It was not because I was any good. It was the fact that these sandwiches were that bloody good. They said, you ain't retiring, son. Right?
Yeah, good
look, I played a lot of cricket up in the hills, played a lot of country cricket. yeah, loved it. I mean, I loved absolutely love cricket. But like sort of most country sports, I think whether it be football or cricket or netball, the country sort of sporting club is just absolutely fantastic and a bit of a lifeblood of the community.
Well done. Neil Hine, our guest. Now back to Nord in '89, but just the 1 year, Nugget.
Yeah, well, basically, I came back for a year, and then me and my brother and myself bought a property down in the southeast. We probably always wanted to be sort of farmers, I suppose. We never really had enough land at Murray Bridge, and we bought a property down in the southeast. And so what basically happened was we were working that property from this one, the property at Murray Bridge and the property down there, and travelling backwards and forwards, and then I shifted to Bordertown in 1990. So I was at Bordertown for a little bit on the farm and managing looking after the other property we had. So that's why I sort of stayed for 1 year and then moved on.
Too busy. Well, Nugget, well done, mate. You're a terrific player, no question. A ripping teammate, and as you said, as good a bloke you'd find in a day's march. Nugget, thanks for your time.
Love that. Thanks, Neil.
No, thanks very much for that, guys, and thanks for having us on.
No, great work. Neil Hine, our guest.
Outstanding work. And thank you, Neil. All thanks to Walco. It's SA's biggest cover-up indeed. Walco's mesh pool cover keeps leaves and debris out of your pool all year round because it's pulled super taut and never sags. It looks great. Ask Walco about their mesh pool cover today. It is 10 minutes to 6. We'll get back to your calls very shortly, but first, here's your roads around Adelaide.
A few crashes just popped up this afternoon. One at Prospect, Main North Road near Milner Street. Another one at Boulevard, the north-south motorway near the Boulevard Red. Change speeds at 40. It's affecting up and got a few delays through there at the moment too. O'Halloran Hill, breakdown causing delays on the Southern Expressway near Seacombe Road, and a couple of burst water mains, one at Glen, Paynham Road near Edward Street, another one at Valley View, Nelson Road at Ryde Road. Current to the Savo, Southern Expressway, Lonsdale. Head to iga.com.au for catalogue specials like OGX Bond Protein Repair Shampoo or Conditioner, $3.85 $12.50, half price, ends Tuesday while stocks last. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowey and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
All right, so that'll be absolutely diddly squat. Zero. Zilch. Nada.
Buy any new, used or demo vehicle from FIVEAA Hyundai before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland on us. Groceries covered, car sorted, more money for what matters. Visit wayvillehyundai.com.au to find out more. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Another great deal driven by Australian Motors.
Our place is your place at the Albion Hotel. Your place to raise a glass to a big sporting win, a milestone birthday, or just making it through the week. Cheers. Your place to bring the entire family, including the kids and grandkids, for an amazing meal together. Your place to sit back and just soak it all in. The Albion Hotel. Your local, your people, your place.
Over 50% sold. Wow! Tickets for the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery are over 50% sold. Win the life-changing $3 million Scott Salisbury Grand Prize, fully furnished and mortgage-free. And with over 11,000 more prizes, you have a 1 in 15 chance to win. homelottery.com.au. Life-changing prizes. Life-changing impact. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14727.
You wake up with a runny nose. Maybe it's just a cold, but that scratchy throat. This might be serious. A little sniffle can cause a lot of worry. Test for COVID, flu A, flu B and RSV with one simple AHPC 4-in-1 antigen test. AHPC provides reliable results in just minutes and is available in single use and packs of 10 for value-priced family testing. AHPC 4-in-1 antigen tests. Available at leading chemists and Amazon.
G'day, it's Ben from BJ Energy. Lately I've had a lot of people asking about the federal battery rebate, what it is, how it works and whether they're eligible. At BJ Energy, we've done the homework. Our job is to help you make the most of the rebate while it's still around. So if you're thinking about solar or a home battery, or just have any questions about the federal battery rebate, it's easy to get in touch with us. No sales pitch, just straight answers. Visit bjenergy.com.au. That's bjenergy.com.au.
Big news! The 2024 plate clearance sale is on at Austrac Campers. Save up to $11,000 on hybrid campers, plus get a bonus 3.3 kVA generator and 200-watt solar panel with every purchase.
Austrac
Campers. Limited stock, don't miss out.
All right, that'll be absolutely diddly squat.
Buy any vehicle from Suzuki in the city before June 30 and you could win an entire year of groceries from Foodland. T's and C's apply. Licence number T25707. Driven by Australian Motors.
Toolkit Depot has all the gear for every trade under one roof, backed by their price beat promise.
Rowey and Timmy G, the 5AA Sports Show.
7 to 6, Mark Bosnich after 6 o'clock tonight, and it's coming up on Friday. We're going to be around the Port Adelaide area doing the show live from the freshly reopened Port and Vine Hotel. So if you want to get along, make sure you're there from 4 o'clock because the first 50 beers will be on us. So
Well done.
get there at the opening time of the show, and you can be one of those.
Done a great job with that too.
They have.
Checked it out the other night.
Can't wait. 5 to 5, a lot of feedback on Neil Hine. Fabulous interview. What a nice guy. Definitely a gold near it was. The 60s, 70s and 80s. I don't think footy's ever been better. Maria's back at it. Neil Hine looks like Barry Manilow on stilts. That is very funny. No, but to be honest, that's funny. Because what did both Barry Manilow and my mate Nugget have?
Long legs.
Massive snots. In actual fact, you know your nose, Sam, makes yours look really small.
Wow, it's big.
Right, let's not get into
snots.
that. Let's go to Crayfors. James has got a Neil Hine story. G'day, James.
James.
G'day, guys. That brought back a memory for me. And, Rowey, I need you to confirm being a Nord man, because I'm not. This is true. Because I used to interchange off the bench. Heine's sitting on the bench. The phone rings in the bunker. The guy, whoever's meant to answer it. So, Neil, the phone's for you. And he's gone, why would I have a phone call? I'm playing football.
Yeah. He'd be a bit, oh, look, I don't know it to be fact, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Classic. Look,
it would not surprise me.
I know you read a little bit of Andrew's text message out, but he says it was a golden era of football. As a teacher currently, he said, students ask me what footy team I follow. My answer is always Norwood. Sadly, they just don't get it. Cheers, Andrew.
Yeah.
And that goes back to my point. I think way back in 1990, if we had have been able to broker something out and just sat there with a couple of cool heads, it could have been Nordport.
Oh, well, coulda, woulda, should have. But I think the club model's always the better model.
Yes.
You got dirt, you got heritage, you got history, and you got tradition.
You got it.
You can't buy any of that. You can't, Timmy.
No, you can't. You just
and that's why I'm envious of Port, and it comes out as you keep reminding me. Why would I not be envious of that?
No, that's right. Yeah.
Why would I not be envious of that?
And to Andrew's point, that's why it was our natural born rival was Nord.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I was telling Sam, I was looking up when we had the showdown week, I was looking up history, and this whole Wikipedia page is written up about Port and Norwood's rivalry to leading into showdowns. And it was like
legendary. There
was this moment in 1885 or something where Port finally beat Norwood, and it was overturned by the league.
Yeah.
You remember reading that?
Yep.
It was overturned by the league.
Because of what?
Days later.
What did we do wrong?
No, Port won, beat Norwood, because Norwood were dominating the comp in the early period of time of the SAFL, as it was back then. And apparently Port beat them, and then the league overturned
We complained.
They overturned
we complained.
They overturned
it would have been along the lines
That is incredible, isn't it?
No, we can't lose to those.
I think it might have been a bit of that.
Down the other end of the land.
Yeah, how dare they?
How dare those people
classic.
in
I
those
do love that.
prison bar stripes beat us? That would not happen.
But we were reading
again.
it. We just couldn't believe it.
God.
Yeah.
Quite an amazing story. It was back in 1878. They became bitter rivals over multiple controversies. Yep, it's a strange one. A follow-up game overshadowed by a misunderstanding at the gate, which almost prevented Norwood players accessing the venue. That was after the controversial overruling game.
So they tried to lock us out, didn't they?
So how about that?
So right. So you overturned our result.
Yep.
So we've said, right, you're not coming in.
What great history. It's time for the 6 o'clock news. Bozza next.
Rowey and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
At Complete Care, we're more than just a care provider, we're a family.
As we celebrate our 10th year, our mission remains the same, to empower our specialised team of carers and client service managers to help people living with a disability. We provide personalised services, including cleaning and home maintenance, to social support and transportation. We look after you like family, offering a warm, caring touch that sets us apart. At Complete Care, we're the company with heart. Complete Care, with a K.
Last month, we serviced around 11,000 vehicles, more than 3,000 Toyotas, Camrys, Corollas, Land Cruisers, 2,000 Mitsubishis, Tritons, Outlanders, Pajeros, over 500 VWs. That's right, over 11,000 people trusted us with their pride and joy. Automasters, isn't it time for you to switch and save? Call 1300 Automasters or book online. All centres offer repair now, pay later options. So switch and save with Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
I'm here to let you in on a hidden holiday gem just 12 k's from the CBD. Marion Holiday Park has it all. A stunning lagoon pool, epic water park, heated indoor pool, mini 10-pin bowling, an adventure playground with a jumping pillow, games room, indoor tennis court, cafe, outdoor bar, kitchen and cinema, plus pickleball and basketball. With luxury poolside apartments, creekside villas, cosy bungalows and caravan and camping sites, there's something for everyone. Get away from it all while staying right here at Marion Holiday Park, Adelaide's hidden gem.
The Adelaide Showground Farmers Market has a producer's guarantee. Everything is produced by the people selling it, so it's all local. It means you know who distilled your gin, who baked your bread, whose chooks laid your eggs and who picked your veggies. It means less food miles, reducing your carbon footprint, and your food is tastier, fresher and often lasts longer. Join as a member at the Adelaide Showground Farmers Market to save 10% on everything all year long. Visit us every Sunday morning from 8:30 to 12:30.
Drive away in the Audi Q3 35 TFSI S-Line Edition now with metallic paint and black exterior styling at $60,900 from Audi Solitaire. T's and C's apply. Ends June 30. DL 65541.
Is your tech causing chaos? You need Geeks to You. Got a constantly crashing computer, weak Wi-Fi, problematic printer? Our fast and friendly Geeks are available to come to you. No fix, no fee, Geeks guarantee. Geeks to You, part of Officeworks.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible shower tonight, down to 5. Sunny tomorrow, 19. With the 6 o'clock news, I'm Mel Usher.
Beat the winter rush today and make sure your home is comfortable all year round with Mannix.
The wraps came off the state government's new Rent to Buy initiative today. The scheme is being billed as a way to get long-term renters into home ownership with the assistance of the Housing Trust. It's a pre-budget announcement with State Labor's financial blueprint due in a fortnight. Treasurer Stephen Mulligan says housing affordability has been a priority for this government.
Whether it's been land releases, investment in water infrastructure, additional support for homelessness services, social housing, public housing for first home buyers or for affordable housing, we have committed nearly $3 billion across our budgets to make sure that South Australians have got the best possible chance to get into home ownership.
Anthony Albanese has returned home from his first trip overseas since the election. The Prime Minister visited Indonesia, Rome and Singapore on his diplomatic tour. Mr Albanese will now take a few days off before returning to work next week. He says the trip was a success.
I met a range of leaders from particularly around Europe and sat down with Ursula von der Leyen, the leader of the European Union, about tariffs, about trade. And it's important that we have free and fair trade.
The Prime Minister won't be drawn on the chaos within the coalition, saying he's focused on running the government. But Anthony Albanese has indicated there may be some staffing changes for the Liberals and Nationals in the wake of their breakup. Well, the mushroom murder trial continued today in Victoria. Erin Patterson's triple murder trial heard evidence from a digital forensic officer. Penelope Lersch reports.
The jury was told police seized a number of devices from Erin Patterson's home, including a desktop computer with hard drives. Sharman Fox Henry, a senior digital forensics officer, told the court that he examined those devices and conducted a number of keyword searches. The jury has also been shown a data log, including a search for iNaturalist a number of times on internet browser Bing. It also showed a visit to a website that has the location of death cap mushrooms. Erin Patterson has pleaded not guilty to all charges. The trial will continue tomorrow.
US President Donald Trump has announced plans to build a state-of-the-art missile defence system to shield the entire country. BBC reporter Peter Bowes says the Golden Dome program will be able to intercept every kind of missile.
President Trump says the futuristic missile defence system will be developed by America's Space Force and will cost $175 billion. It'll consist, he said, of next-generation technologies, including space-based sensors and interceptors to defend the country against aerial attacks from the other side of the world or launched from space. He added that Canada had asked to be part of the project, which was inspired by Israel's Iron Dome, a system that's been used to intercept rockets and missiles since 2011.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Collect the new 2025 AFL footy cards at Sports Card World, Regent Arcade, Rundle Mall.
Port Adelaide has added another name to its growing injury list, Isava Radicalea. It's another hamstring issue. Meantime, Coach Ken Hinkley says he remains focused on making the team the best it can be this year. Port has slumped to 15th on the ladder following 3 losses this month. Hinkley says until he winds up at the club, guiding Port remains his key focus.
Clearly with bad losses, continued questions come. As long as you don't get distracted, that's what I would say. Internally, if you don't get distracted by what you're trying to achieve through 2025, right to the very end of 2025, you're okay.
Essendon coach Brad Scott insists the club is in a stable position and there is no appetite for a change of leadership. It comes after club great James Hird rejected a report linking him with a potential return to the hangar as senior coach. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Sharman Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the Big White Building, still at 412 North East Road.
At Prospect, a crash made North Road near Mill Industry causing delays outbound. Bolivar, another crash causing even bigger delays. This one's on the north-south motorway near the Bolivar interchange. Speeds are down to 40 delays, back about a K at the moment. And O'Halloran Hill, a breakdown on the Southern Expressway near Seacombe Road, also causing slow traffic. Cameras, Morrow Road, Lonsdale and Old South Road at Old Ranella. Velocity members save up to 40% off selected products at Snooze, plus for a limited time and triple Velocity points. Hurry on now. Exclusions, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
A possible shower tonight down to 5, sunny tomorrow 19, Friday sunny and 19, Saturday a shower or 2, 21. Right now it's 14 degrees. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News tonight.
In your suburb.
Good evening from Port Noarlunga.
Across your state.
A sombre scene here in Bordertown tonight.
9 News is covering the stories that matter to South Australians.
We begin with breaking news tonight.
South Australian parents urged to be extra vigilant.
Because your home is our home. Adelaide is your city. 9 is your news.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Toolkit Depot has all the gear for every trade under one roof, backed by their price beat promise.
Rowey and Timmy G, the 5AA Sports Show.
6 after 6 on this Wednesday night, driving with Dixon coming up at 6:30 this evening. Still time for your calls as well. And you can visit Morntein Cheltenham Hyundai to take a test drive today. Find your perfect Hyundai car at Port Road, Cheltenham. They bring us our 5AA live stream. You can watch the show any night you like on our Facebook and YouTube 5AA social pages. But the time is now 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Make sure you're tuning in to Stan Sport. It is when we get to the final.
Mattistel sending it across. Romero rising high. Tottenham have got the goal they so badly needed. Dominic Solanke was there, and with just over an hour played, surely that's the goal that seals the deal to send Tottenham into the Europa League final in Bilbao.
Yes, the UEFA Europa League final. Man United and Tottenham kicks off tomorrow morning. As you said, Stan Sport, 4 a.m. our time, and live and on demand on Stan Sport. And also 9gem if you haven't got that. But get on board because we've got this man, the Stan Sport expert with us, Mark Bosnich. G'day, Bozza.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you? I was just about to say that. Remember 9gem as well.
Yeah, exciting stuff, mate.
Yeah.
We'll both Rowey and I have decided that we're getting up because we just we want to get Ange up. And he's had a tough year. He's had quite a bit thrown at him, but he's up for the fight.
Well, he is up for the fight, and good on you both for getting up, and I hope everybody does as well. Look, I've got to be very, as I always am, brutally honest with everyone here. My first club in professional football was Manchester United.
Yes.
So I am going to be supporting Manchester United. However, I will say this, and a lot of it's to do with the fact that he has had to put up with a lot this season. Some of it's been self-inflicted, to be fair, but the majority, in my opinion, I think has been a little bit out of order, including the question that was asked him last night about if he lost, would he feel as though he'd be a clown? I thought that was really out of order. I won't be too disappointed, as I normally would be, if Man United lose, because, like I said, it's been a very tough season for both sides. It has, but especially Ange and Spurs. They've lost 21 games in the Premier League, and the other thing is, well, they haven't won a major trophy in 17 years. Not since 2008 have Spurs won a major trophy. They haven't won a UEFA Cup for 41 years. So it's got so many little twists and so many little things that could go this way, could go that way, and this is what makes it such an attractive game. And coupled with the fact as well, we're talking about two of the most famous clubs in the world with huge support. So all eyes will be on, like you said, Stan Sport in the morning and 9gem to see who comes out on top.
Last 5 meetings, Spurs have won 3 and drawn 2. Anything in that?
100%. Yeah, 100%. And look, somebody asked me this the other day in terms of who would you have as favourites. You have to say Spurs. This season alone, the League Cup, Carabao Cup, if you want to call it, and 2 league games, all Spurs victories. So they've won 3 from 3. Now, it is very difficult. I know from my own experience, it is very difficult to beat the same team 4 times in one season. However, if you ask me what dressing room I'd rather be in before the game, I would say the Spurs one, because as a player, you're thinking to yourself, I know we can beat these lot. We've beaten them 3 times. We can do it. Whereas if you're a Man United player, as much as you want to believe, you haven't got that validation to know that you've actually beat them. So Spurs will start, in my book, start as favourites. There's no doubt about that. And Manchester United will have to find a way to overcome Spurs, which something they haven't done for quite some time, like you mentioned. It's not just this season, last season as well.
They've had injuries, Spurs. Are they close to full strength? Have they got the firepower? They got close to their best kit?
They are, and a lot of people have mentioned the fact about injuries, and they've said, "Oh, excuse." There's no excuse. It's a fact. They had a terrible run of injuries. Now, like somebody said to me the other day, well, that's down to the manager and his training as well. Perhaps so. That's okay. But the fact is that they have had a lot of injuries, and for a major part of the season, they haven't had the availability of their full quota of players. This final is different in terms of the fact that they've got all their players. There are 2, well, you could probably say 3 that are missing, which are Bergvall, Kulusevski, who was said that he was out, and James Maddison. They are 3 big misses. There's no doubt about that. Manchester United, on the other hand, should be pretty much injury-free. They've got a lot of experience in that Manchester United team in terms of winning big trophies. I mean, Casemiro has won, 4 or 5 Champions League with Barcelona, with Real Madrid. And, you've got Bruno Fernandes, who's won trophies as well with Manchester United. Most recently, obviously, the FA Cup, as a few of the other players have as well. But that all goes out the window. Same with previous form when it comes down to finals. And finals are normally decided by men and moments. And what I mean by moments, I mean a great save, an unbelievable goal, a mistake, a decision that goes, against you. Those are the moments that if you can exploit those moments and make them count, it's very difficult for the opposition team to get back into the game.
Well, Ange, he wins trophies in his second year, so let's see if he can keep that up. So the big question is, win, lose or draw, does he still have his job? If he loses, he's out. If he wins, he's in. What's your gut feel on that, Boz?
My gut feeling is if he wins, they keep him.
Of course
That's my
do.
gut feeling. Now, I've been told different recently from people who are I won't be giving away my sources, but who are people in generally in the know. But this little caveat, as they said to me as well, regardless of what we think we know, they said to me, we still are not privy to what's been going on behind closed doors. So the one person told me that regardless, this is 2.5 weeks ago, regardless if he wins or loses, he's gone. Another person turned around and actually said to me, he actually brought up the situation with the Socceroos. If we remember rightly with the Socceroos, before the 2018 World Cup, he had a bit of a sticky end to the World Cup. We had to go through the playoffs, if you remember, against, I think it was Syria and Honduras. And remember, he qualified us for Russia, then he resigned.
Yes.
That's what another person said to me, that he might win it and resign. But my gut feeling I'm sticking with, I just think from a club's perspective as well, I think if you really want to be, really hit the heights as a truly big club, which Spurs are striving towards being, I don't really think you should behave in the way that basically you win a major trophy and you get rid of your manager. A lot of people say, well, the example of Man United last season, Eric Ten Hag won the FA Cup. They ended up getting rid of him in October. Okay, but they didn't get rid of him straight after, did they? They still went, in my opinion, with what was the right decision, is to keep on the manager. But so we'll see. It'll obviously be one of those three. From Ange's point of view, Ange's sake, let's hope he wins the trophy, so whatever happens, he's in a position of strength.
He can shove it right where the sun don't shine.
Well, Boz, it's actually interesting. We had a message from our friend Mouse in Perth. He said 41 years ago they last won a big trophy, and they actually sacked the manager then. Keith Birkinshaw, they reckon.
Yeah, Keith Birkinshaw. I'll have to check whether or not they sacked him straight after, but I've got no reason to doubt him. But 1984 was the last time they won a European trophy. The last time they won a major trophy was 2008 under Juande Ramos, who was let go of not too long after. But we'll have to check the Keith Birkinshaw one.
Not a good pattern.
No, it's not really. Oh, look, listen, they've had something in the last 17 years or something like that, I think, under Daniel Levy. I think, as somebody will check this, I think they've had something in the range of 14 managers.
Wow.
So what I'm saying to you is, look, we're not saying, a lot of people are sort of saying, are you thinking about the sort of like a Alex Ferguson dynasty or Arsene Wenger? No. But, people will tell you things do take time. I know in the modern day everybody wants
now
coffees rather than a long lunch.
Ever since the microwave.
I just think exactly. I just think that, like I said, in terms of you want to be a big club, there's certain standards and behaviours that you have to adhere to. And like I said, to win a major trophy and then sack somebody, I really think, unless, like my friend said to me, and he did make that point, there might have been stuff going on behind the scenes that might have sealed his fate already, which we aren't aware of and probably will never be aware of, because if that's the case, they will both sign a non-disclosure agreement, and we will never hear about it.
Okay. So who owns Tottenham? Is it a Saudi? Is it that Thai billionaire?
No.
American?
It's an English chap called Joe Lewis who resides in the Bahamas. So he's got a gentleman called Daniel Levy who's in charge of them, like he's the CEO.
Yeah.
And basically has look, in my opinion, I know he's got a lot of stick because he hasn't really gone out and stuck his neck out in terms of paying sort of the big wages. They've got a wage structure there, which limits their ability sometimes to get the bigger players. But he has. I mean, they've had the third highest net spend in terms of transfer fees in the last 5 years. And he's built an absolutely magnificent stadium. It's arguably one of the best stadiums in the world. And in terms of match day revenue, it brings in, I think it's fourth or fifth in the whole of Europe.
Wow.
In terms of how high the revenue they bring in. But they've got to pay that stadium off. And this season has been a disaster. So that money that they'll get if they happen to win and qualify for the Champions League is pretty much cancelled out by the fact that they're in 17th position, and it looks as though they'll be in 17th position. And those who don't know, in the Premier League, you get prize money for the position in the league you finish, and there's a £2.5 million difference between each position. So I don't think that they would have budgeted for them finishing outside, perhaps maybe the top 8.
Yeah.
But the fact that they have, that will prove costly for itself. But all that aside, out of all this darkness, they can do something truly special and etch their names into the history of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Come on, Ange.
And for the Red Devils, I mean, they haven't had a great year either, so that their fans will be thinking, we'd like a little bit of compensation too.
Stinky.
Oh, absolutely. You can flick the coin on the other side is Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. Have a very, very tough time. Like I said, they changed manager pretty much midway through the season. 16th position. This will be their lowest position in the Premier League era. They had been relegated before, obviously, when it was the first division. And it's been a really difficult slog of a season, no doubt about that. But once again, and they're the only team left in all of Europe, including the Champions League teams, Paris and Inter Milan, and Real Betis and Chelsea in the conference. They're the only team, and Spurs, who are unbeaten in Europe. And they did have that wonderful win against Lyon. Remember when they scored 3 goals in 8 minutes against Lyon in that quarterfinal? Sometimes when things happen like that, you sort of think to yourself, hang on a minute, is their name on the trophy? So they'll be having all those thoughts as well. And like I said, I think it's imperative for Manchester United, especially because of the financial position, unbelievably, that they find themselves in, that they can try to get Champions League football. It's such a huge thing. to be able to say to a player that a prospective signing, not only can I do this and pay this to you and this, that and the other, but also remember we've got Champions League football.
Boz, our listeners love your world game knowledge. This is Kevin from Seacliff. We're interactive. Can you ask Boz about the Scottish Cup final, Aberdeen v Celtic this weekend?
Who's favourite? Probably Celtic.
Oh, definitely Celtic will be favourite. They won their about 1 millionth Scottish League title this season, and they'll definitely be favourite. But like I said before as well, it's a good question because it's a final. So, like I said, league form, everything pretty much goes out the window. And, you just got to turn up for the day. And on the day, as we know from our own sports here, when we have the grand final, regardless how well the team's done all season, that sometimes on the day they just don't turn up. So I would not rule out Aberdeen whatsoever.
Okay.
And like I said, although they'll go into it as underdogs, that has its own advantages because no one expects anything off you.
Yeah. Is that the club Ange coach, Celtic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Correct.
He won
he won the treble with Celtic. Yeah, he won the treble with Celtic. I think 5 trophies in 2 years. Celtic supporters, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Hey, Boz, we love your work, mate, for Stan Sport. Good luck for your big Red Devils, but I think you're going to have your pants dropped tomorrow morning.
I'll be thinking about you. You can have a look at my face. Like I said, I won't be as disappointed, but like I'm a little bit of an extremist for those who know me. I still will be disappointed. Don't worry. Yeah?
I know. Go, Ange.
You're a
Thanks,
classic, Boz. Thanks very much, buddy.
Anytime, guys. Take care. Thank you so much.
Good man. That's our Stan Sport expert, Mark Bosnich. UEFA Europa League final. Man United, Tottenham. Starts at 4 a.m. the coverage, our time on Stan Sport. 9 as well. And I think kickoff is 4:30 a.m. So that's when I'll be getting up.
And do what I do. Set your alarm. So get up, have a coffee, then have a shot of scotch or a tequila because you like to warm yourself up.
One whiskey,
sit down,
one bourbon,
that's
one beer.
One beer. Who sung that?
George Thorogood.
Georgie bloody Thorogood.
Is he good, Tim?
Love him.
Get a haircut and get a real job. Who sung that?
Let's hope they're singing this, Spurs fans. You can sing that in the lounge room as well, potentially. Interesting story just before we go to the break around the Keith Birkinshaw era, which you were talking about during your chat there with Boz. So here's some quotes from Keith Birkinshaw, which is in this article only written yesterday. Try and think of the similarities to Ange Postecoglou here. This is what he said, because he got forced out, right, of the club after he won the UEFA Cup in 1984. His quote is, "I was forced out. They didn't want me there. I was too strong for them. The way I ran the club was to push the directors aside and say, look, we'll talk once a month, but I'm going to be doing everything here. They couldn't stand it. They wanted to be doing it themselves, and they had no idea how to do it."
Oh, that's Ange Mark
How
too.
similar is that?
That is Ange Mark too.
Well, you've got to let the coach coach.
Let the cobblers cobble.
That's it. The cobblers cobble.
And those executives go and get
21 after 6.
Hang on, Enzo just said, I wish we had Boz on. Enzo sent this in. The beginning of the end of Boz's career was playing for Man United against Spurs when he did that famous salute.
Oh, infamous, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're not going to repeat that, but it was
infamous.
Infamous.
It was
very good indeed. Well done, Enzo. 21 after 6.
The 5AA Sports Show with Rowey and Timmy G.
Join Rowey and Timmy G in the studio every afternoon with 5AA's live video stream of the Sports Show. Visit Morn Team Cheltenham Hyundai and take a test drive today to find your perfect Hyundai car. Port Road, Cheltenham.
Look here, look at shorty got back. Should I ask her for a dance? Hold on, there's too many in the wolf pack.
The all-electric Kia EV3, crowned the 2025 World Car of the Year. Awarded for its record 604 kilometres of all-electric range and fast-charging capabilities. The Kia EV3 is your 2025 World Car of the Year. Visit kia.com.au to find out more.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Forget having mulch or compost dumped on your driveway. It's messy and it gets in the way. Instead, order cubic metre Hulker bags of Living Earth compost or mulch. Hulker bags can be delivered where most tip trucks can't get to, and it's Australian Standard certified. Plus, when you've emptied it, fill your Hulker bag with approved hard waste, and Integrated Waste Services will take it away for a discount price. Google Hulker bag now, spelt Hulca. Hulker bag.
Fusion Clinical Research are looking for people to participate in a study aimed at uncovering and reducing mental decline. The trial results will be used to drive the development of new treatments. People between the ages of 55 and 80 are invited to take part and will receive compensation for their time. If you are interested, find out more and check your eligibility by contacting Fusion at fusiontrials.com.au or by calling 08 7077 6996. That's 7077 6996.
Come on in.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 90 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
Oh, here's one. Hey, you leaving, mate?
Yeah, one sec, buddy.
Okay, no worries. Oh, come on. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Parking turning you into someone you're not? Search UPark app today.
Ready for your next adventure? Austrac campers are built tough for Australia's wild landscapes. From the coast to the outback, you'll experience unmatched quality with every adventure.
Austrac campers.
At Coles, stock up on snacks with great half-price specials on Aussie classics. Like half-price Arnott-shaped crackers, 130 to 190 grams, now just $2. Shop in-store or online at Coles. Offer ends Tuesday.
Toolkit Depot has all the gear for every trade under one roof, backed by their price beat promise.
Rowey and Timmy G, the 5AA Sports Show.
24 after 6, driving with Dixon very shortly. Still some time for your calls. And Thursday night footy, teams have come out for Geelong and the Dogs for tomorrow night. This will be a massive game down at GMHBA Stadium. Paddy Dangerfield obviously out, so is Jack Bowes, so is O'Sullivan. In comes Reece Stanley and Tom Stewart and Ted Clohessy. So 3 big ins for the Cats. Baker's in for the Dogs for the expense of Arthur Jones, who's injured, and Bailey Smith will play after having some interesting training situations during the week.
Hello, Yuri. How are you? Yuri?
Come on, you Spurs. Tottenham Hotspur are my life. I was actually born 3 months before they won the 61 double. That's why I am Tottenham. But going very quickly about the game, there's a guy who's been quite average this year. He came back from injury last week against Aston Villa, and that's Son. Son is back. He absolutely destroyed Villa on the left. If he can get those crosses, which he will, hopefully Solana can put them in the net. I think Tottenham are going to be a little bit too good. Our biggest downfall is our midfielders coming back, because once we lose the ball in an attacking third, teams run down like hot knives through butter. We've got to be disciplined getting those players back. But I think Tottenham, I'm getting a bit emotional now, but I think they're going to be good enough. I really do.
Son is on.
Get to bed. Have an early night, set the alarm, and as I said, have a coffee and then have a chaser, a big Scotch chaser. And
Tottenham, no one can stop them. We're going to do it like we did last year. Tottenham.
Love it. Well done.
Yes, Yuri.
Now, Son's the Japanese lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
Plays on the left.
Yeah, very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah. No, he is good. Hey, Yuri, well done, mate.
I love the singing too.
Yeah.
That got me going.
Tottenham.
I reckon he fixed my back. Look.
Actually,
Chelsea
back
Dagger.
is...
we'll be playing that tomorrow if it works.
Now, your back is better.
It is.
You golfing tomorrow?
No. You know, when you think you're ready, one more.
Hey, Brett Scott, just quickly. Or haven't got time?
No time for that. Driving with Dixon's coming next. Driving with Dixon.
Rowey and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
Westpac is expected to cut more than 1,500 jobs in a bid to meet